Hi everyone, welcome to the live show this evening or morning, wherever you are in the world right now. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today I have a special guest on. We're going to be talking about a little bit of a throwback. To me, it kind of hurts me to think of like how old these songs are now. It makes me feel really old, but it's we're focusing on a throwback to 2005 up into 2010 in Japan, looking at all the big hits and influential music and artists that were from that time period and really shaped the landscape of pop music at that time and a lot of my personal taste in pop music. So over to my guest. Who are you? I pointed in the wrong direction. Over to my guest.
Hello everyone. My name is Carl, also known as Carl ALTW or Artist of the Week. If you recognize the background, then you probably remember me as the Hurly Burly guy. And if you don't remember me at all, that's fine. I haven't made videos in years. So you're good. But yes, I'm here. I'm excited. I will admit I have a more narrow knowledge of Japanese pop music compared to my co-host, Hikipedia. Like she knows it all. She is literally an encyclopedia. God bless. And I'm just here to learn and to have fun and hopefully share an ignorant comment or two about Japanese pop.
Yeah, I think I picked a little bit of a difficult topic because I was spending so much time like listening to everything and making notes and comparing stuff and yeah.
I know you put in a lot of work. I wish y'all would see the notes that she put in. There was so much detail in everything that was in the discussion. And all I could think of was, I was ready to talk about what I like. I'm ready to talk about what I like. I'm ready to talk about how it impacted Japan and just move from there. Because I know that we like a lot of music that has shaped Japanese pop music industry and just how it went from like what it was in the early 2000s to like 2005 when we had like more access to it, when more people in the US got more access to broadband internet, to like now and how it is now.
Yeah, I actually didn't even send you the full notes that I made. Like I was watching all of the like top 50 or whatever countdowns and I would just like write down in my phone every single artist and like their songs if I recognize them, because I wanted to see like who was tracking across each year and who kept showing up. So I just like picked out the highlights basically for the ones I sent you.
Yeah, that's what I noticed, because you gave me the video of those and it was like another song every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Another song. I had to pause just to
write it down. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot. There was a lot that happened in 2005. I feel like I took some pictures of some songs. I don't even know if they're even recognizable, because they probably weren't big hits outside of that year. But where is it? Oh, here it is. The beginning. There was like a Tokyo Incident song that I recognized. Crystal K2 was one. Be My Last. I remember that one. With Me and Motor Girl, which I didn't even know that was 2005. I knew that was, early, but I thought that was like 2006 when it released.
Okay.
And then I can't even pronounce that because I can't read kanji. And homemade. Oh my God, Kazaku.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kazaku. I remember them because they were from an anime, and I think it was from Bleach. And then Yuki Kreva. It was really fascinating because when I went, behind 2005, I was noticing that there were some groups that were kind of doing the American hip hop rap thing, and it was okay. And then Inflow, blew it out the water.
Yeah, I was surprised actually Inflow didn't show up much in those videos I was looking at through 2005, 2009.
Oh, they didn't?
No, not in those particular countdowns I was watching. Like I know their collaborations were big, and that's like what I know them from that time.
Yeah, that's the thing that surprises me so much with Inflow, because I know a lot of their hits. I know so much. They were actually the main reason why I knew about Boa and actually knew about her, Nami and all that stuff, like I was able to put a name to a face. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess to a voice in this regard, because I'd always hear their voices in anime shows. But that they were really the big impact on me being able to know more about Japanese pop music and, you know, who's impacting the genre and stuff like that. And then now, I don't know if you heard, but there's this artist from Britain who sampled the Miss You song by Inflow. And it's like an underground hit in Britain.
Really? No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was like back in 2020. I was like, what? Huh? I was so shocked and surprised, because it was amazing to see a song that impacted me in my teens be used by someone who's way younger than me. I think the girl is like 20, 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. It's like the music that I would know probably wouldn't have hit well in Japan, but internationally, the kids are using it. The kids know about it.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of us international people also all know like a lot of the same things, even if they're not tied into anime or games. The like Inflow is really big among international fans, and Perfume, stuff like that we're gonna be talking about.
Yeah, so I know that if we start with 2005, I wrote down in my notes that the things that I remembered that were big in 2005 was like Inflow Love Series, Nami Moore with the Queen of Hip Hop thing, because I remember I would always hear her songs. Bonnie Pink with, I think Perfect Sky was that year, and Boa Kwan with the Love Bug. I don't know for sure if anything by Boa Kwan got big that year, but I know that Boa Kwan, the Love Bug with Inflow, just it was humongous. Like that was a huge hit.
Let me consult my notes. Boaz hits in 2005 were Do the Motion and Dakishimeru in Japan.
Those were the two.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't 2006. That was 2005.
Oh, were you talking about 2006? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was talking about 2005. You were completely accurate.
Okay.
When I tell you had your notes, you have your notes. I thought that Dakishimeru and Do Emotion was like a hit in 2006, so that was my bad. But yeah, like those were the big things that I remembered. Kind of like running around in my play motion, running around in my like in my little circles when I was trying to find Japanese pop music to download. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those would be the ones that would always pop up. Would be Bonnie Pink, Boa Kwan, Nami Moro, and then like Inflow stuff. And I do also believe there was a time when my friend connected me to Chobits, and I found out about Let Me Be With You, which was probably from the early 2000s, but
whose song is that?
Oh, Round Table featuring Nino.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember hearing about them a lot because me and all my middle school friends were just dancing to it all the time. They'd be like, "Oh, this Fall Out Boy, okay, My Chemical Romance, all right, good." And then, you know, just imagine like a group of kids all consolidated together, looking at all different dancing to one Japanese pop song. So, but yeah, like those were like the big ones that I remembered in the circles. And I remember the like Dakishimeru. That one was a big hit. And when I was trying to get more into Boa Kwan, there were Boa Kwan fans that were telling me, you know, what to get into, and they kept saying, "You gotta listen to Do the Motion. You gotta listen to Dakishimeru." What the heck is this song? And I listened to it and it slaps. It's really, really good.
Yeah. It's one of her bigger hits. Do the Motion is like a really big hit for her. But yeah, I remember downloading that song and video as well when it came out. I thought she was Japanese until one of the Japanese exchange students at my high school was like, "She's Korean," but she learned Japanese. I was like, oh.
Look, you gotta give it up to the Japanese person. They're like, look, that's not a Japanese person. He's Korean. Did it right.
Yeah. She actually was a huge Boa fan, though. Like, she had, like, a Boa t-shirt that she wore to school and stuff.
Oh, wow.
She was really cute, yeah.
Yeah, like, that was the thing that actually got me into Korean pop was BoKwan.
Oh, yeah.
BoKwan was the first Korean pop anything I ever heard. When they said Korean pop, I was like, okay, let me go over to Korea, see what they're doing. And every time, I just go straight to Boa.
Boa's really classic. She's kind of like Utada in that way where some of her big hits sound very timeless. Like Do the Motion, I feel, is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, and oh, speaking of Utada, so, okay, you go hit me with this. I think you already know, but I did not check into Utada Hikaru until Phantom because they said it was about her mother's death. And I was like, oh, we're talking about death? I'm in. But the thing was, after I found out about how good Phantom was and the album after that, Hatsukoi, I was like, okay, let me actually check out this girl's discography. Let me stop being petty. And Be My Last was on my rotation for a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I love this song. I love this. And I just kept going deeper and deeper into the Utada Hikaru cuts. And I was listening to Distance. That was really nice. And I was listening to the whole First Love album over and over. And it just made me think, wow, like all of this was happening before I even knew how to connect to Japanese pop music outside of, clicking play on an anime show and hoping that the ending song would be the song that I liked. Because I did that a lot for Outlaw Star, and they'd have like 2 different Ikino Arai songs. And I think the one was Suki no Ie was the one that I really loved. But yeah, like that was like my connection. And when I found out about Be My Last and the First Love album, all that stuff, I was like, oh, wow, and powerful.
So what did you think starting at Phantom and then you jumped all the way back to First Love, 1999, her as a 15, 16-year-old writing her own songs? What did you think of that sound and like that lyric writing compared to Phantom?
Well, the first thing I thought of was she's American. That was the first thing I thought of when I heard of Utada Hikaru's first album, was that it really confirmed to me that she's from the United States. She grew up in the United States. Like, she has huge Japanese influence because, both her parents, the culture, all that stuff. But you could tell that she had influences from New York City and the sounds of New York and what was going on in America. So that was really cool to hear when I was listening to Automatic and Moving On Without You. Like, I could hear the references come out of her songs.
Okay.
So that was really interesting, and it made me want to know more about her and know more about her music and art style and just how the writing was. But I do notice that in 99, she sounded youthful, and then when I read over the lyrics, she was youthful. Like, she sounded like a young girl. She is a young girl. And that was really cool to see, just the difference between lyrics of that and then going to, like, I think A 2-Hour Vacation. I think that's what the song's called.
Yeah.
Okay. And going from those two, because I was really obsessed with that song for a long time. I did just move out to LA, and I had some separation anxiety issues, so that was like my song. That was it. I was like, everything's dry. There are roaches in the house. I need a song. And that was the song. But yeah, like, it really was, it was like a gradual, it was like hearing someone gradually grow up.
Yeah.
And the fact that she actually took her time to do it, it made me realize Utada Hikaru is a singer-songwriter. She is a musician. Yes, she entertains. Yes, she's a pop artist, but she is a musician. And that's a very different type of feeling and type of energy that you can give out into your music than someone who is just an entertainer. Like, I can tell the difference between someone who's a singer-songwriter versus someone who's a pop artist just by American standards alone. And Utada Hikaru and Bonnie Pink, I must admit, Bonnie Pink was the first one that I noticed the difference of. Those were the two people that made me go, okay, this is singer-songwriter music. And like the other stuff I'm listening to is like pop music.
I actually didn't know Bonnie Pink was a songwriter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, how I found out was I looked up her discography after she released the Golden Tears album.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was in 2000, either 4 or 8. I'll have to double check, but I was obsessed with that album. Yeah, like, it's okay. I was obsessed with that album for a long time. And I was like, why does this make me feel so good? Why does this feel different? Like, why do I listen to this song as much as I would listen to, like, an Alanis Morissette song? Or, like, Sheryl Crow, what's going on? And I found out that she's a singer-songwriter. And she went from, like, I think France to Japan and was living, 2 different areas and was writing a whole bunch of English songs on top of Japanese songs. So it made sense why I would connect to her music so much more, because she would write the syllables and consonants. I may be using the wrong terminology here, but like syllables and consonants of like how she would write out a song. I would listen to one song called Private Laughter, and it like blew me away as if I was like shot in the heart, because it was so good. And I was like, why is this so good? Why do I love this? And that's when I found out that she's a singer-songwriter. She was heavily influenced by the female rock musicians from like Britain, America, and like Japan, and took them all together to make her own sound.
Oh my God! So I've been really like underestimating her, because I've only heard a couple of her singles, and I really never listened to anything else. I didn't know anything else about her.
Yeah, like I feel like Bonnie Pink for me is probably like how I feel about Nelly Furtado in North America, and everyone else is like, okay, we like Promiscuous.
Like I noticed that you liked a few Canadian artists too, because Nelly Furtado is Canadian, I think. So her discography is pretty well known here, and then Lights.
Oh yeah, I love Lights.
Yeah, so she's Canadian as well.
I love Lights, Nelly Furtado, Metric. I really like Metric.
Yeah.
I think after the Fantasy Sound, I kind of fell off, but I do like them. I love Emily Hayes the most, and I know there's more. They're gonna pop up, like Sarah McLachlan. That's my mom's face, and I love Sarah McLachlan. Yeah, Sarah McLachlan, Celine Dion, Lights, Nelly Furtado, Metric / Emily Hayes, Tegan and Sarah. Oh, Tegan and Sarah too. I mean, like honestly, I could go all day with Canadian pop music too. I even like Avril Lavigne. I just love how hilariously silly she is.
Yeah.
I love that she didn't even care. She took the time. She was like, I'm gonna make a Hello Kitty song. And then she made the song, and we were all like, you're an embarrassment. And here goes Japan. Yes!
Yeah.
We love Hello Kitty.
And when Twitter was born, a bunch of people were like, you're racist. This is a racist song.
Yeah, because I remember that was when the Tumblr kids started moving over to Twitter.
Yeah.
Was when she released that song, and then that's when American media outlets were like, is she racist? Was she offensive? And here goes Japan. We don't care.
They're like, we like it, you dicks.
We had a good time. Everybody got paid. We were going to be a famous person. I'm like, okay, whatever, Japan. I don't care. You had a good time. It was a funny song. I had a good time. But yeah, like I do notice that actually speaking of Canadian pop music, whenever I listen to that, like I would always go up to Canada to listen to pop music, and then over to Japan and listen to pop music. And then whenever I come back to America, I would like sigh. I remember that, and I saw that happening around 2006 or 7. I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm bopping. And then I go to Japan, I'm like, ooh, lights, loud music, and then I come back to America, and it's like J-Lo on the TV screen. I'm like, I'm not listening to J-Lo. So it definitely fueled like the type of taste that I would have, and why like the taste that I'd have in Japan would be kind of similar to the taste that would go into Canadian music, because those were like the 2 big things I listened to growing up.
That's awesome. I saw Lights live a few years ago at my college, and
Wait,
she's
she
really
came
cool.
to your college?
Yeah.
I had to go to her. I had to go to Des Moines.
Oh,
I
did
hate Des
you?
Moines. Yeah, thankfully she came down to the Midwest. She was like, let me go entertain some people. And I gave her a hug and she was so tiny. I was like, you need to eat.
Yeah, she is really tiny. I didn't get to meet her. Did you have like a meet and greet pass, or like what happened there?
We just waited. It was in
Okay,
Iowa.
perfect.
Nobody was going to wait to see lights. It was like 5 of us there. And
Yeah.
it was all because one of my friends from college, I think Danny wanted to meet her. And then we met these two guys who, one of them had a crush on Danny, which was actually uncomfortable because she had a boyfriend at the time.
Uh-oh.
Drama ensued.
Mm-hmm.
But they waited, and because the one guy was obsessed with lights, and Danny
Mm-hmm.
became obsessed with lights, and they both wanted to wait. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's wait. I want this CD signed.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally waited. She came out of this thing. I guess she like took a nap. So we were waiting and she took a nap. And then she woke up. It was like 10:30 p.m. She's like, hey, everyone. I'm like, hi. And we just all hit it off. I was
Was
actually
it
surprised. Oh,
was
go
it
ahead.
the Siberia tour?
Yes.
That's the one I
That's the
saw her
one.
on. Yeah. I was
Okay.
so obsessed with the album for like 6 months after it came out. I was just playing it over and over.
Look, if we want to talk about obsession, that was the album. That was the release. Because I don't know if you did it, but I would do the thing where I would check up on lights and kind of hope that her music would get better. Because the first album, I was like, okay,
It was cute. Yeah.
right, like
Yeah.
this is nice. Thanks, Old Navy. And then she came out with that second one, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is it. This is what I came for. This is why I'm living today. And when we
Mm-hmm.
went to see her live, it was so like her performance and everything. All of it was really good. I just didn't like her fans because they just kept chugging Red Bulls, throwing it to the ground, and kept yelling at her. And I was like, okay, so I'm still in Iowa. I'm still in Iowa, but it was good. I loved that album. I remember my favorite one was it was all that. It was the whole album. I can't even list one song.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely like leveled up 10 levels between the two albums.
It was actually crazy. I think because when that Siberia album came out, I think I was able to listen to that album because of Yasutake Nakata and Perfume.
Oh, really?
Because my friend, one of my friends from middle school, she was listening to Capsule a lot, and I didn't know who Capsule was. And this was around the time when she got a car, and I think it was like mid 2006, maybe 2007, and she kept playing the song Jelly.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anything about Jelly. I didn't know what we were listening to. I just felt like we were in deep space. Come on, Ikonda. I was like, hey. And then she dropped me off at my house because she was like the only person from the west side of town who would drive over to the east side, race. But so she would do that and she would play the music, and I remember how heavy the bass was, and how cute the vocals were. And then when I got into Perfume, I think a year and a half later, that was kind of like the same feeling that I got, like the heavy bass and then like the cute voices, and then Lights came with Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the same thing.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. So I really, really liked that because of how it connected the two worlds. Like Japan's doing this, here's Canada, and then boom.
Yeah, that's so funny. I didn't even know like she would really have fans in the US, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It probably was the Midwesterners and the people in the Rockies. It was definitely in like predominantly white states. I don't think she went down too far. I don't think she went to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But she came down to Iowa, and I was surprised because nobody comes to Iowa to perform at a concert. Maybe like Lady Gaga. I think one time Lady Gaga came.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but even Ariana Grande skips the state. They're like, oh,
why? Because like I don't know anything about it. Like, why is it like low population or?
I think because of low population, probably like lack of interest.
Oh.
It's kind of like you're spending all this money, but you're not getting the money back. Like they're not even trying to get tickets there because they just assume that people don't want to see it.
Oh.
Yeah, because the one time that Beyonce was here in Iowa was all the way back. I mean back, because it was like back to Destiny's Child era, and I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I went with my sister and my cousin and my aunt, and I couldn't see them at all. I was like, this is the worst concert I've ever been to in my life. I can't see them. Where are they? They're like, they're right down there. No, those are ants. and and it was in Waterloo. They came to Waterloo, Iowa. They came to my hometown, which is surprising because at the time that was where like the most Black people were. So they actually came to perform for us, and I guess it was like a little connection. Like they knew my grandfather. I was like, okay,
really?
Hey. Yeah, I was surprised as much as you were surprised. I mean, I didn't get to talk to them or anything, but that was why they stopped by Waterloo, because one of their family members knew about the Black population here and how much we like them. And I mean, yeah, everyone in Waterloo loved Destiny's Child, like Sierra, like it went from Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Sierra, so on and so on. But that was the only time I've ever heard of or seen Beyonce in the state of Iowa in my life.
That's amazing. She just never came back in her solo life. She's like,
no,
been
like,
there.
I saw the trees. I looked at the planes. I said hi to a cow, and we moved
on. Okay, so before we go on, I just want to give a shout out to people who are in the chat. So just scrolling up. I accidentally posted the stream link, like the invite link, and then I deleted it. So
like 70,000 people on here.
Yeah, thankfully no one has requested to join, but Becky Taylor, pretty regular here on the channel, so thanks for coming out. The Only JS says Hickey's new single is nice.
Oh, look, if we want to talk about Latonya Carter's new single, I can totally do that. Because I can even connect that to 2005 to 2010 J-pop. Because if I think about it, everything of that song is still connected off of what happened in Japanese pop music from 2005 to 2010.
Okay.
Like,
expand everything. On
that. Okay, so like let's think of it. That was when well, every single time Utada Yukara was going to have influence of R&B in any of her songs, because that's like that's her genre. She loves and respects that genre. You can hear it. But aside from that, that was when like the electronic music was popping. That was when it was like very electro, you know, very techno, like in like the undergrounds. I can't really speak for mainstream, but I know that like in the undergrounds, that was it. You know, that when if you're out in Japan at like 3-4 a.m., you're gonna be hearing some like loud ass remix song. And that was just what was fueling it. And then just to hear her singing I can't even do the notes appropriately, but you know that one part in the song that just kind of sounds like, you know, kind of the beat of a drum? It's like, oh, I'm here. It definitely reminded me of, you know, what Yasutaka Nakata and like Sawa and her team were doing, like Sawa and Welcome to the Sawa album.
I have no idea.
That's okay. That was, again, underground.
Yeah.
Like maybe more like no, Meg was more like very melodic. I'll stick with y'all talking to Kana. Yeah, I'll stick with that. But I can hear it. I can hear it in there. It's so nice. It's so lovely. It's still like with Utada's own, you know, spin to it. But it's really, really nice to hear that even in 2020, I can hear elements of music that I heard in J-pop as a teen still being played out with Japanese artists.
So she co-produced with a PC music producer on her new song. And I don't even really know entirely what PC music is, other than it's like electronic, like synths, beeps and boops. Yeah. So would you say PC music is kind of coming over from J-pop? Like, is PC music influenced by J-pop? Is PC music coming from J-pop? Is J-pop coming from PC music?
So there was this one person that I'm mutuals with that we both met on Tumblr, also known as Kiari's Not Dead. If anybody knows Kiari's Not Dead, you're a real one. But he talked to me about how Pico Pop in Japanese music strongly fueled the sounds of PC music coming from like Britain. And I listen to Pico Pop and I listen to PC music, and I can definitely hear the similarities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if most people making PC music knows that that's what they're doing, but the ones who do know about Pico Pop Japanese music are succeeding, and the ones who don't are not succeeding. So I feel as if, yes, that influence of Japanese Pico Pop does help fuel the type of familiar sound that can help PC music makers, be successful and good. Because I think, if I remember, Carol Bonito mentioned it, and I personally don't know if they're a PC musician. Someone, like, the kids said they were, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take your word for it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, I remember Carol Bonito listening to Pico Pop music. I know that Sophie has referenced Pico Pop music and even provided like tiny bits of elements to it to Be Who I Want to Be with Nami Amuro and Hatsune Miku. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, to this day, that's like the perfect PC song for me, because it really combined the two genres and cultures and just made it work. But I would say, yeah, without knowing it, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it has... Sorry. I was going to say Hatsune Miku is like the first thing that pops in my head every time I read PC music on anything. Like the whole Vocaloid thing is like what I picture for that.
Yeah, I thought that it was going to be Vocaloid as well. And then that's when I found out about Sophie on SoundCloud. And it just said like PC music in the hashtag. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, so this is PC music.
Okay, yeah.
So, and it kind of did remind me of Japanese pop music.
Yeah. I can definitely see or like feel a connection if there is one. Back to the chat. Zelda Ghoul, another regular supporter. Thanks for coming out. The Only JS says they like Inflow. I found out about J-pop through anime many years back. Ultra Blue made me love Utada back in 2008. Take Me In. One of the best albums ever made. Take Me In and Fed Up with Craig David are my favorite Bonnie Pink songs. So she's worked with Craig David.
Thank you for your contribution. But I gotta give him that, because like she really I think that she did work with Craig David. No, yes, she did. It's just every time I listen to the song, it's like I hear Craig. Hey, Bonnie. Okay, hey, Craig. How you doing, Craig? Hey, Bonnie.
And then also is my good friend Matthew, who was my guest on my last live stream. And you hopped in on the chat for that, which I wanted to ask you about, because that was when you like demanded to be on a live. You're like, let me speak. I have things to say. I was just wondering, like, what did you want to say at that point? Like, what caused you to be triggered, I guess? We were talking about Crystal K.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was extremely obsessed with Crystal K at the time when y'all did that live, because I didn't have a lot of access to Crystal K's music at the time, because I didn't have a J-pop Suki account.
Okay.
It was mostly because I grew up with a worrisome mother, and she was like, don't legally download music, you're going to go to jail. And then everyone was like, come to J-pop Suki. I was like, oh, okay, what y'all share? Torrents. No, that's how people go to jail. So I never went to J-pop Suki. So I never got the connection to Crystal K's discography, because it was from there. And then I finally was able to listen to her albums thanks to Spotify and, her label doing the right thing.
Yeah, finally.
And I swear to God, I love her. She's great. If I want to go back to the 2000s, I'll just listen to Crystal K. She embodies that whole era. Crystal K really did everything that she needed to do to be good. And it's like her and A-Marie did exactly what we needed, like exactly what we needed as kids to enjoy 2000s pop music. Everyone else was just contributing words.
Do you mean Anne-Marie, the like European pop singer?
Oh, sorry, no, Anne-Marie, the black, black and Korean musician, the one who came out with One Thing that was on the movie Pitch.
I've never heard of her. Never seen the movie.
Her and Crystal K, yo, those are my crushes. That was it. Every single time I was like, I want her. Like, they're beautiful women, amazing performers. They were great. Anne-Marie is good. Crystal K, amazing. Every time I listen to them, they take me back to the 2000s. It's like a time feeling, but I love it.
Sorry, the only JS is saying, okay, so I misheard you. Anne-Marie. I thought you were saying Anne-Marie. Like, the hyphenated name. No, I know Anne-Marie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good now. We're good.
Yeah. Becky says a friend got me into K-pop and J-pop. Becky, I know a few years ago you said you liked Ayumi Hamasaki, but we're already 40 minutes in, so let me jump back to my notes. So yeah, I'm really glad Crystal K, her stuff is up on streaming now. We talked a bit about 2005 already. I wanted to kind of talk about this era. I don't know. I mean, I kind of got the impression from you, from what you've talked about, like your experience in middle school and stuff so far, but like this era for me, like 2005, 2010, I really, really got into J-pop. I liked it for a few years before this, but like, I actually got like my own computer with an internet connection for the first time in like 2004, 2005. So that was when I could kind of like do my own thing and explore my taste that way. And then like there's just like really big albums for me that came out in that time period, like Kodakumi's Kingdom, Utada's Heart Station, Nami was big. I didn't get into Nami till like 2009, 2010. But yeah, so I kind of think of it as the like modern golden age of J-pop started around like 98, 99, when like solo female artists were really blowing up. I
totally agree with that.
Yeah, so like the big artists from the 80s had kind of like stepped back and they made room, and like I felt like Nami Amuro really set up like a whole stage for all these artists, for like her insane influence and her insane popularity, and like she just really set like fashion trends, and yeah, she's just like a huge icon that kind of like opened the pop market in a way.
Yeah, I agree with that so much, because I think when I started, exploring Nami Amuro's discography, I couldn't get off of the song "Can't Sleep, Can't Eat, I'm Sick."
Yeah,
that was it. That was the song. I would go everywhere with that song playing, and it was just really strange to just see myself going off of this song. I was like, this is a really, really like, this is for the girls, but I love it. Like this is for women, but it was so good. And when I went even further back, like speaking of Nami Amuro, like taking what the women from the 1980s did, and just kind of like carrying that on, carrying that torch. That's what I want to say. To other artists, I can totally see that, because it's like Chase the Chance, that whole Sweet 19 Blues album. It's like she really set the stage for all of this wonder, all of these sounds. Like, I was amazed going into Japanese pop music, especially from 2005 all the way to 2010. I came in with this illusion. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't true. That like female musicians were top tier. That was it. You can't do anything great in Japanese pop music unless you are a woman, because everybody who was, making a song and people heard it and you were talking about it, it was always like a female artist. And I remember like when I was talking to my friends about it, they'd be like, "Oh, well, I just assumed that in J-pop they want female singers, and in America we just want to listen to men cuss." And I was like, yeah, I feel that. They just cussing on the beat for what? It doesn't even flow. But yeah, so that really made me even more inclined to listen to Japanese pop music, because the girls were just singing what the girls wanted to hear, and it really worked. And it was just in such a wide range of variety of sounds, going from the heavy electro to like the hard rock section of it, to like this folksy part, to like just so many different things. And it was very wondrous to have all those type of ranges of music from female musicians from like this tiny country. Country. Not a lot of landmass for people to live in.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like this time period is definitely when women were like allowed to branch out into all these other genres that the males had kind of been dabbling in Japan. Like prior to the 90s, it was all like women were all the like enka, like ballad singers and city pop.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too, because whenever I look up city pop music or like Japanese 80s music, it's always kind of like, this is the sound we're singing. This is the sound we're singing. And I like it, but I want it more. I did notice that the artist Teiko Anuki kind of combated that a little bit, because she would be like, I want to do some synth pop. And they were like, stick to what you know. Okay, but like in France, they said, this is Japan.
Yeah.
Why can't I do all these things? So then afterwards, like I think like by 83, 84, she kind of started to dip a bit, because she was high in the 70s, and then she dipped around in the 80s, because it was so much like, this is your one sound. This is the sound you're going to do. You are a female, this is your sound. So, and that was really interesting to see. And then when Nami Moro came in, it just like she broke the glass.
Exactly. There was also Zard, which was fronted by a female singer. I think they debuted like 1990 or around there. But that was like the only female like rock charting musician. But so just to run over the list of like what I quickly thought of what was stuff I liked or like what was notable in 2005 was Mika Nakashima's Glamorous Sky, one of my favorite songs. Honestly, it's a great song to do at karaoke. Ai Otsuka Planetarium. That's another one I thought like a lot of Western fans know about for some reason.
I think, isn't it a part of an anime?
I don't know. It could have been.
Let me see. I'm gonna do my research.
Okay.
Because I thought that it was, because I recognized the song when I was looking through it, and I was like, wait, I kind of recognize that song. Let me see. Oh wait, it wasn't.
Oh. Yeah. See, it's one of those weird like anomaly things where like everyone I know in the West knows Ai Otsuka, even though she wasn't like tied into big anime release or anything.
I think it's because she's good.
That's a valid point, yeah. And then we had like the Bleach themes were huge by Orange Range and Yui. Kato Milia was active. Boa Kwan already talked about. L'Arc-en-Ciel, another one that's huge among Westerners. Namie Amuro, she was charting with Want Me, and White Light. Are you familiar with those songs, Carl?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was like, yeah, like Want Me. I didn't realize how dirty it was until y'all made me realize how dirty it was.
Yeah, it's become infamous on Twitter, basically.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm a Christian. I can't, I'm a Christian. I can't do all that. And then later on, one man, I was like, it's a good song. I don't care. I don't know what she's saying.
Yeah, the only JS mentions Inuyasha in the chat, and Inuyasha is like the gateway drug to J-pop, basically.
I know they have like a different song like every, I think, 15 episodes. Because we heard Nami, we heard Utada, Boaz, we heard Do Is Infinity. I was like, okay, so then just let me just know what's up. Give me what are the names? Here they go in Japanese characters. This is not helping. I had to figure it out with Boa because she was the only one that came up in like English. So, and that was my plug. That's how I found out about Boa, Nami Amuro. Oh yeah, actually Inuyasha was my plug because I wanted to find out that the Every Heart song. Thought it was beautiful. And then I looked it up, found WEBCOMIC's Every Heart, and then I found out about the Love Bug with Inflow and WEBCOMIC. Then I found out about Bonnie Pink and Love Song. Love Song. That was a really good song. And then right next to it, now this is back in the day, like 2008, 2009. No, 2009. One Room Disco by Perfume. I didn't know who Perfume was. I was like, huh? Click play. It was over from there.
Yeah, game over.
I was like, I found my niche. I didn't need anything else. And it had like the most views at the time too. I think it had like 14, 15 million views, and it was only up for about 2 months.
That's crazy for that time, and a Japanese artist.
Oh, my bad. You were gonna ask a question.
I was gonna ask, who is your favorite in Perfume? Like, which member?
I don't know. Toshiko Koshijima. I mean, she had to birth all those girls, so.
Okay.
I feel bad. Like, okay, so I want to like Achan. Like, I want Achan to be my favorite because I remember in Japan they would always call her a gorilla. I'm like, F y'all. And I want to know why they called her a gorilla, and I guess because like her face kind of looks Korean, so they're just being xenophobic. And I was like,
she's so cute.
Well, she's precious. I love her. Like she always be smiling and telling people to brush their teeth. What's wrong with her? Japan. She don't look Japanese enough. Okay, and y'all don't brush your teeth. Let's focus on the real problems. So I really want to like have her as my fave, but then I think of Nochi, and I think of like how Nochi just be chilling at home, playing her video games, always hitting her mark with the dances, having like her little mishaps, and just like, you know, going through the triumphs. I'm like, okay, well, I love Nochi. And then there's Kashiyuka, who's probably like, to me, the most westernized girl in the group because she loves Britain. She always be going out to Hawaii. She's like, look, I want a taste of Western life, but I don't want to be in Western life. My little Hawaii visits and vacations. You know, she really loves like the rock music and the rock people. I don't think she'll ever date a white man, but she would date a man who is very influenced by white people. Like, she'll date a man who plays music that sounds like My Bloody Valentine and just be having a good time.
Okay, so like kind of an emo boy.
Yeah, like I feel like Kashiyuka is like that mid-2000s emo girl who got a successful career.
Yeah, she kind of has that look too. Like she kind of always has like a coy sort of face, like expression.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Nochi is my favorite.
Oh, I love Nochi. Nochi is the vibe. Like if you're an introvert and you just want to sit around and play your games, Nochi is it.
Yeah. I saw a video of them on a talk show where they were putting their feet in one of those tanks of fish that like eat the skin off your feet.
Oh yeah.
And Nochi was just like screaming, and I was like, I love her.
That was like the loudest I ever heard her scream too. Oh my god. Oh, actually, okay, so there's like this famous thing in the Perfume fandom where like Nochi never cries. Like it's very rare for her to cry in concerts and stuff. Now let me tell you, I went to the first American concert for Perfume, and it was in LA, Hollywood Palladium, and I was like in the front row, like not front, but I was in the front, and I was taller than pretty much everybody there, so they saw. And when One Room Disco came on, of course I lost it. That was the song that got me into them. And then I was looking around, I was like, hey, hey. And then I was waving to Nochi. Tell me why that girl started crying.
What?
Yeah, she started crying. When I was waving at her, I was like, hey! And she just started crying. I was like, I did it. I made Nochi cry. This is my moment right here. And then it didn't help because like my head was already big right there. I was talking about it after the concert. I was like, I made Nochi cry. Nochi cried because of me. And then I think they made a documentary about it. And they were talking about me, I guess. And people kept giving me little clips about Perfume talking about like this big guy that was like all happy and smiles. And you know, they described my skin color too and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm just talking about me. Me. Like, I'm the one. He just kept jumping up and down, just being loud. And I was like,
Yeah.
so my head even got bigger. And I was like, yeah, I was the one that made them cry. I'm the reason why they were happy. I'm the reason why they had a good time. You know, and F them hating in and out. They loved me. That's all that matters.
Okay, you've already had like 3 legend moments on this live stream. Like, I feel very overshadowed.
Oh, no. You are completely fine. Because, like, let me tell you this. I can have, like, all these great experiences and stuff, but you have been consistent with your videos. Well, it's way more than me. Way more than me. I'll say that. You've been way more consistent with your videos than me. And also, you really do put down the homework and like the education and really like look up this stuff to know what you're talking about. Me, I just yell at the camera.
That's way more fun to watch though.
It is, but I can also be very ignorant. I'm having a good time, but I can also be very ignorant. And I have to give you props with that because it really is like that consistency and that work ethic that can really get you places. Me, I'll probably like grow in old age and be like, I remember this one time I made this random Japanese girl cry. I'm like, who was it? Nochi from Perfume. And my grandkids gonna be like, who? What?
They will know because you're gonna like raise them to know and like raise them on the Perfume albums.
Yes.
So going back to the chat, BW, don't think I shouted you out yet. Thank you for coming. Eric JJ, thank you for coming as well. They say they were at the same show.
They know. They know about what happened. I don't know if, oh snap, I just got a grand idea. I'm going to do this. But I don't know if they were there and hearing people kept yelling hurly burly to me, but it happened a lot. It happened a lot.
So you got recognized?
I was recognized. And I was like, is this how it works? Is this how you're like viral?
So how close were you to the stage?
Okay, so let me think. There was like this front row of a lot of men who kind of smelled. So I took a step back and then there was another row and then there I was. So I was like 3rd row.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty close. I think, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think like going back to Nochi bursting into tears there, like the Japanese artists seem very, very shocked and surprised when they are confronted by Western fans. Like, I think because Japan is so isolated, it doesn't even ever occur to them that they have like fans outside of Asia, right?
Yeah, actually, they were in such shock. And I remember a lot of Japanese fans would like come up to me the second go round, because they didn't come up to me the first go round. It was the second go round of like Perfume concerts where they were like, oh my God, hi, how are you doing? We love you. I was like, who are you? I didn't know. It was like, but it was because of, you know, like their culture, and, you know, they're not going to just randomly come up to someone that they just met that night, I guess. I don't, you know, they're very they were like very old fashioned type fans. So I was like, okay, cool. But it was nice. Like, they were so sweet. I think one of them like gave me a gift among like all of my other friends who like set up these Perfume LA meetups and stuff, and they would spend time doing it too. Like, they're very sweet, nice people. And it was just crazy. Like, they would give me gifts and stuff, and all I did was show up. I'm like, oh, thank you. I got like a little crocheted, I think it was an Achan thing. Oh, thank you. And a little poster thing too, all the way from Japan that was about like perfume closet. So I bought like all of these clothes that I can't fit. But I was like, thank you so much. This is nice. But yeah, like it was they were really nice people. They're very nice, very sweet, very loving. It really made me go like, why the hell do I live here? I don't like the United States. I'm always stressed out, and everybody wants to argue with me about being Black. I'm like, you're not even Black. Why are you arguing with me about being Black? I'm gonna have to move. And then here comes like Japanese fans. They're like, hi, how are you doing? Like, here's a gift. We love you and your company. And they just sit by and just are chilling and are just enjoying your company. I'm like, oh, this is it. Mm-hmm. This is my environment. I love it. It very much reminded me of home. It kind of made me want to go home, because I think when Perfume came the second round, it was like 2016, and that was when I first moved out to Los Angeles. A lot of Japanese fans came and were saying hi to me and were being very cordial and sweet and kind to me. Yeah. And it just really reminded me of home and like my family and being in Iowa. And I was like, I don't want to be here. There are bitches. They don't understand, cognitive dissonance. I hate being here. I'm just saying it. I really felt like I was living around a whole bunch of Azealia Banks people. Like, everyone was an Azealia Banks. Everyone was a Kanye West. That's how I felt living in LA for me.
That's terrifying.
Oh, really?
I said that's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Like, see, you get it. You understand. Like, and then every time I went to a Perfume concert, it just lowered my blood pressure. Like, my stress levels would go down. One year, I was like, I don't think I can go. I have to do work. And they're like, you have to come. So then I broke my neck to go. And then I went. I was like, oh, thank God I went, because I needed it. I didn't know that I needed to go. And that was when, like, being a fan of Perfume became more than just liking the music. It became more and more about a community because of the viral video that I made, and then about just kind of like the community of people who liked how much energy that I give to Perfume for what they did.
That's really sweet. The Utada fandom is like very nerdy.
Y'all are nerds.
Yeah.
Y'all are a bunch of gay nerds. I don't know how that works, but apparently it works. I be wondering, like, every time when Utada Carl releases a new song, I'm like, I feel like Kiki is gonna retweet like something that's gonna be related to gay sex, and Utada because that's how like the mutuals and the fans are, and I'm like, okay, that's cute, but I'm gonna go listen to that song again. I'll see you later. that's how it really is.
It
really is, but that's how it feels.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go through my tweets and like see how many times I tweeted about gay sex at this point.
I don't think it was that many times. Once was enough for me. I was like, well, how are you connected to Utada? Oh, okay. It was like a gif of her or something.
We were talking about her, like, I mean, there's been a couple, like, fan jokes. Like, we called her the bi queen for a while with her whole, like, what makes you think I'm straight tweet.
Oh, I love that tweet.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful tweet. I ran around all of Los Angeles and was like, do you see her? She's bisexual. Do you know what that is? Okay, it was like my house, but there were like 23 other people. I count that as Los Angeles streets. And I was like, you see this? Bisexuality. I was like, bisexuality.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the people I lived with they didn't really believe that bisexuals can exist. And I'm like, huh? And I was in a social justice house too, and I was like, oh, what?
The erasure.
The erasure. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. So then she tweeted that, And I was like,
yeah. And then she put the 2-hour vacation video out.
mm-hmm.
I was like, I was right. I am always right.
Like, at this point, you know what she gonna do next before any of us. I see how you like track how Utada goes, and you're right. Mm-hmm. You know, you'll be like, you know, I think she's gonna release an album like probably next year or something, and then Hatsukoi came out, and then you're like, I don't think she's gonna release an album for a while, and she hasn't. We're still waiting for the new one. I mean, I can wait. I can wait for a while because she released enough content for me to be happy and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But oh my goodness, that Latonya Carl just basically saying what makes you think I'm straight. Chef's kiss. Yeah. That was beautiful.
I can't believe it's been a year since she started releasing singles again. Like she started releasing, she released Time back in the spring of 2020.
Oh, that was my song. That was my song.
That was my top most played song of 2020, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I think it was mine too. Yes, it was. Because Spotify said, look at this.
Yeah.
You listen to it. But I kept playing it. I kept sharing it on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And people kept getting annoyed with me because they're like, look, we get it. You like the song. Shut up. And I was like, okay, but do you get it? Do you get it? Because are you listening to it? Because if you're not listening to it, I'm not going to talk about it. And then they finally started listening to the song. And I was like, okay, I can move on. And then I switched it to another Japanese song. And I think it was like 5 Star by Capsule. And they said, go back to Time. This is too much.
Okay, if I'm annoying you, just skip my story. Like, don't tell me to stop with my music. I'm not going to stop.
We're not going to stop. Like, you clicked play on this. You knew what you were getting into. Me. You know, this is part of who I am. What else do you expect?
Yeah. You were talking about Be My Last at the beginning of the stream, and that just reminded me of, like, talking about roommates and stuff. When I found that song, I listened to it over and over and over, like 20 times a day, and my roommates hated it.
They were like, she's depressed. Oh my God. No, but yeah, like, I don't blame you. I remember okay, what was that one song? Oh, I was listening to Colors. So there was one time, this is probably pre-2005, but I listened to it, and I listened to it a lot when I was living with this group of people, and one of them tried to kill me. And then, yes, long story short, they messed up my tire. I almost like veered off on the California freeway. I could have died, but I didn't. Thank the Lord. But I was very upset, and I found out who did it, and I was like, I'm living with someone who tried to kill me. Okay, this is it. This is over. I'm not going to leave LA, but I'm not going to live here anymore. Mm-hmm. And while I was waiting and trying to find a new place to live, I kept playing Colors by Utada all the time. And like, one of them asked me, what is that song about? And I was like, oh, you know, it's about a group of people diminishing your light, diminishing your color. Mm-hmm. I made that up. I made it all up. They didn't know because, like, I was with people in the house and they were Asian, but like Chinese and Korean. They didn't know Japanese music. They didn't know what Chinese say. Wonders. And what was it? Like, the person who tried to kill me came into the room and was like, "Can you turn it down?" I was like, "Huh? Can you turn it down?" And I turned it up. So I think like that was a moment where they were like, "Oh, he's depressed." And I was like, maybe, or maybe I'm just angry. Maybe ask me the question. How about? But yeah, I played a lot of Utada. I think that was like in 2017. Before, no, 2018, because that was when the incident happened. Spring of 2018.
Colors is a rather combative theme too, so it's like kind of fitting, actually.
Yeah, you know. Okay, can I talk about that about Japanese pop music? Mm-hmm. I would not know what they're saying, but there's this feeling that a lot of musicians will, okay, not all of them, but a lot of musicians that I listen to that would exude out something, and I'm like, okay, that's the feeling I'm clutching on to. The like this. Yeah. This is generally what they're saying, and then excuse me, like, and then when Google started translating, well, we had access to like translate Japanese songs, I would look up the lyrics. I'm like, oh my God, it was the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This is it. And I think I really like that about listening to Japanese pop music. Like, I still don't know a lick of Japanese. I just sing to it. I have a good time. But I can feel what they're saying. I can feel what the general theme is. And I really, really like that about consuming their music.
Exactly. I always think of music as a universal language, despite whatever the lyrics, like whatever language the lyrics are specifically, that if it's a good song, then the message is going to come through no matter what.
Mm.
Sorry, I'll go back to the chat for a minute. Eric says, going back to the Perfume concert, fans chased them after the show to In and Out.
Fans what?
Fans chased Perfume after their concert to In and Out.
I wasn't a part of that group.
Oh, no? Okay. I was expecting you to say that was you, but...
Oh, no. I did not like In and Out. So when I found out that they didn't like In and Out, I was like, well, what a surprise.
I've been to California once, and, like, all of my Canadian friend group that was there was like, oh, we absolutely have to go to In-N-Out and try animal style.
Oh, fries?
Yeah, and it was a little underwhelming, so.
Like, if we're going to be honest, the fries suck.
It's overhyped, for sure.
Awful. Like, if you're not baking it in grease, why are you giving it to me? That's my American butt, but Jesus Christ. I remember the first time I went, I thought I was in love with it. Like Kiki, I thought I was in love with it. Mm-hmm. And then I realized I was just hungry. That was it. I tried that food again after, I had a good meal. I have stable meals and stuff. I was like, I don't really need this. I'll just eat it if I don't want to feel too guilty about eating fast food. Mm-hmm.
That's happened to me a couple times where I'm like, that was the best burger of my life. And then once I like reflect on it later, I'm like, it actually just had the spice of hunger, like extreme hunger.
And when I tell you, like, I didn't know that I was starving myself when I first went out to LA, like, well, the first time and the second time, but I was starving myself. And I didn't know because I'd always expect like my family to go get food, or like when I went to college, there'd be 3 meals a day. And then I had to go get my own food, but I didn't have money to go get my own food. Mm-hmm. So, and I didn't know where to get food stamps and stuff because I thought that was like illegal in California. I mean, Ronald Reagan came from there. I don't know what's allowed. And like, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm hungry. And then my brain would just tell my stomach to shut up. And then I wouldn't eat. So then I was actively like losing weight because I was starving. And then my friend at the time, he was like, oh, let's go to In-N-Out. I was like, oh, okay, let's go to In-N-Out. And I went and I ate it and I loved it. I was obsessed. I ate it so much. I was happy as a clam. And then that same thing would happen for every single bit of foods I would eat. Like, they'd offer me, like, some tofu stuff. I hate tofu. Oh, yeah? I was so hungry that I was like, oh, my God, this is so good. This is amazing. This is wonderful. Yay. The only thing that I didn't budge with was mushrooms, and they had a talking with me about mushrooms. I was like, look, if I'm not going to eat it when I'm starving, I'm not going to eat it at all. But no, yeah, like I remember, like I was starving for both the time I went out to Los Angeles, and then I finally went out and got food stamps, and I went to In-N-Out again after like a month or two that I was on food stamps, and that made me realize, I don't like this. I could have went to the store and bought a bag of chips. Like, I don't like this at all. Like, let me give me a Cheeto. I was so, that was the sad part. I was like, give me a Cheeto. I don't want this burger and fries that's sitting right in front of me. I was like, wow, I did not like this.
BW says, I remember I left a message on a Min Me fan site in English that said I was loving her music out here in New York. She responded saying, thank you. That was pretty big in an era before Twitter back in 2004.
Oh yeah, that was huge.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you had any type of connection to Japanese musicians before any social media site existed,
Yeah.
you're a legend in my book.
Then they said Minmi made Shiki no Uta and Who's theme for Samurai Champloo. I love that soundtrack.
You know what? Yeah, we have to mention Samurai Champloo because that I think that was the first time that I heard an artist outside of Akino Rai that made like just this ethereal feeling type of music. Like it was connected to the nature, the air, the stars.
Yeah.
It all worked. That was really good.
Yeah. Shiki no Uta, I still listen to that song. It's so good. Now everyone in the chat is talking about food. Jay says In-N-Out is mediocre. The only JS says I love Popeye's Cajun fries and Wendy's current fries.
You know, I'll give them that. I do like Popeye's Cajun fries.
I've never had Popeye's, so
you're not missing anything.
We have one like near where I live, and it's the grease smell is like overwhelming coming from there.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, yeah, that's it. That's Popeyes. That's a Southern fast food chain.
Okay.
Yeah, because I actually have noticed this thing that is pretty big in the Midwest is that like we are huge with distributing candy and fast food. So we're like a big reason why Americans eat the way that they eat without anyone really realizing it and not knowing what or who the Midwest is. So if you have like a McDonald's up and around there, I think McDonald's came from Arkansas. I could be wrong, but that's a Southern one too. But they got their influences and stuff off of Midwestern fast foods because like there'd be a nice smell that come out, but not a strong greasy smell.
Oh, okay.
So, and I remember that because we would drive by Made Right. Like this is like a local Iowan chain. There's no Made Right outside of the state of Iowa.
Okay.
And I would smell burgers, but I wouldn't smell the grease. When literally the meat is soaked in grease, and then they scoop it out of the grease, let the grease drip, and then put it on the freaking bun, close it, and they're like, here you go. You know, like, it's literally all grease-made food, but you don't smell the grease. You smell a burger. And that's the same thing that happens with Culver's, which is very, like, it's butter and grease galore. I love Culver's, you know, but again, I'm very American. And I don't smell a grease smell. I smell burgers. I smell fries. I don't know how in God's name they do it. I don't know how in God's name it's done. But the Midwest was just good at perfecting that. Even like Pancheros, which started in the state of Iowa. It's like this burrito place. It's like Chipotle, but for Iowa, I don't know. It smelled like burritos. How did you do that? I don't know. I want to buy a Chipotle and it stinks.
Oh, do you not like Chipotle?
No, it just stinks.
I actually like Chipotle, but it's kind of a novelty for me because it's new. It only came here like within the past couple of years. We only have one in my city. But yeah, I remember on a trip I took to Florida, I went to Disney World as an adult, and I was kind of like shocked at the fast food. Like at Taco Bell, you could get like 6 tacos for $6. Or we went to the grocery store because we were like staying at a house, and the food at Disney World is like $10 for anything, like and up. And then so we went to the grocery store. I was like, just like bagels and like normal everyday things were also like $6 or something. So I don't know.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's funny that Taco Bell have their 6 tacos for $6 because I'm gonna tell you another thing that came from the Midwest. Taco John's. Taco John's is this Midwestern chain that is known for giving out a 6-pack in a pound, which means they'll give you 6 tacos, 2 big cups of tater tots, like covered in, I want to say Lowry seasoning salt. It's pretty much seasoning salt. And if you want, you can have little cups of cheese in there, and it's $10. and it's a pound of food for $10.
Yeah. So it's like, which one are you gonna pick? Is like the fast food that costs the same as this like grocery store food that you have to prepare yourself and isn't gonna be like the junk food satisfaction, right?
Yeah, and plus it kind of sucks too, because like if you live in like a food desert, it's just easier to get food from the fast food place than like making your own food, because the food that's there is not great, or it's already ruined. You can't really make fresh foods and stuff. It's been rotting for like 2 weeks. It's disgusting.
Oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no, yeah, like food wise, if I had to really think about it, I think Utada and Carl would eat at Burger King.
No, that's disgusting.
I think she's a Burger King girl. I think she would eat at Burger King.
That's nasty.
Yes.
I'm taking offense to that. No, she would like go to New York and go to like the Tim Hortons that they have in New York.
That's so much work. For what?
Actually, Burger King owns Tim Hortons now, so it's like the same shit.
Could you imagine if Tim Hortons just started making burgers?
Yeah, they make breakfast sandwiches, so it's like you're one bun away from making a burger basically.
Don't forget the cow. I feel like if I had to think about Japanese pop musicians or like what type of fast food places they would eat at.
Okay, Crystal K, go.
Oh, Crystal K, she goes to the Wendy's. What? not the McDonald's. Oh no, I think she'd go to a Wendy's. Only because they have the chocolate frosties, and she would dip her fry in the chocolate frosty and eat it.
That's delicious. But I really like McDonald's. McDonald's is like top god tier fast food.
Okay, but y'all probably have like healthier McDonald's food. I'll probably, because y'all have universal healthcare, so it probably tastes better.
You can't get super size here. You can't get like the extremely big drinks here or anything.
My God. Oh my God. Like if I could show you how. Okay, I want you to look at this. It's like a thing of raisins. It's like a ton of raisins. And then this cup. This is like how much drink you get when you get a large Burger King drink. It's so much drink. Why do I need like a gallon of drink for this bit of food that I'm getting? Like, no! The drink is $1. I'm like, I don't need all of this for $1. I don't need that. What am I saving? Nothing. I'm like saving time to live because I'm going to have an early grave. I don't need all that drink. I remember like one time we went to Burger King. I was a kid and mom was like, what size drink you want? I was like, oh, I don't care what size. And you're like, okay, give them a regular. And it came in like a big size. And I got so mad that I didn't throw it out because I knew my mom would be very angry if I threw out food. But I was like, I'm not drinking this at all. And I waited till we got home and I just dumped it in the sink. It was too much drink. Like,
yeah. If you drink that, you have to go to the bathroom like 5 times.
Yes. Like, I'm not a trucker. I don't have a pee bucket. I'm not doing that. And then I pretty much, it got so bad down here with like bigger and bigger cups. With like places that people go to, like McDonald's cups started to get big, Burger King's cup was getting big, even Hardee's cups were getting big. And I'm like, okay, Hardee's closed, Jane, you need to calm down. Ain't nobody going to you for lunch, dinner.
What's Hardee's?
Hardee's is like this, it's like a burger joint. I don't know if you remember that one commercial where Paris Hilton was on a car and then like washing the car and then she like, I don't know if she ate the burger.
Oh, like, yeah.
Her, but that was a Hardee's commercial.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much Hardee's. Which was a burger place. And the cups just got so big, Kiki, I just was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I would just eat the food and then wait till I go home and then drink something. Or like have a water bottle in the trunk or something. Like,
yeah. Do you watch Trisha Paytas? Do you watch her? Or are we not? Is this like a no-go subject?
I have knowledge of her. I have not. I've never watched the full video made by Trisha Paytas.
Okay.
I've seen clips.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it. Doesn't she eat fast food on her videos too?
Yeah. I was just gonna say her fiance is Israeli, and like in one of her recent videos, they went through a drive-through and he ordered a medium drink, and they passed him like this massive like oil tank. Like, he's like, "This is a medium," and the comments were like, "Yes, honey, you're in America now."
Yeah, he must have went to Burger King.
Yeah, I think it was Burger King or Wendy's.
I'm telling you, Burger King is ridiculous. I can't do it. But no, like, I feel so bad. I don't even watch a single Trisha video, but that is accurate. That's very accurate. I think, like, there was this one kid, like, and it's like, there's this one kid that I was working with at my job, and he would go to Jack in the Box, and he would get a large drink, and it would be like the same size drink that I just showed you, and the same size drink of that. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna drink it." I'm like, "You're not gonna drink all that. You're like 10. You're 10. You're tiny. You're this big. What?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna drink it." Every time that kid takes like 10 sips, and they're like, "Who wants the rest?" I'm like, so one day I just took the cup. And I looked at him and I was like, "You see this? Yeah. Are you done with this? Yeah." And I dumped it. Stop getting big cups. He got so angry. I'm like, "No, we're not doing this. You're not going to go on and share your pop songs about their kids and then get mad at me when it starts a fight and then they take your friends from your room. Goodbye." So big that kids would just take sips of it and then start sharing with each other or use it for like manipulation, like coercion. It was more coercion. Kind of like, "Oh, I want to play football too. You're not playing football. Well, I got a whole big thing of soda in the fridge, so you should let me play football." "Oh, okay." And then he plays football.
They want to drink it all.
They really do.
So we have to commend their ambition as little kids.
So they just want to share it to other people. At least they're sharing.
Yeah.
I know that, okay, going on the continuation of like Japanese pop musicians that would eat at a fast food place.
I'm interested.
Where would Yumi Hamasaki eat at?
She has taken a picture with McDonald's food, like in front of McDonald's in Hawaii before.
I'll give her Hawaii. Kodakumi would eat out of Popeyes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, mostly because it seems like Kodakumi really wants to be something that she'll never be. So we'll give her Popeyes.
Okay.
I think that's very fitting for her. And I feel as if Verbal would check in at a Chili's. I know it's a restaurant and not a fast food place, but at this point, every American restaurant chain is a fast food place.
Okay, yeah.
The quality of food, it's really like getting it from a drive-thru. It's the same quality. Like, I saw someone from IHOP buy like $1 Walmart breakfast food that they were going to make at IHOP. I'm like, okay, this is fast food. I'm done. He would eat at a Chili's with DJ Taku. I believe that. I also believe that, oh gosh, what's another one? No, Boaz technically Korean. A Korean pop artist. You know, I'm going to do Boaz anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and we're both going to say where we think Boaz would eat at.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Wendy's.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you. Okay. A Wendy's.
Anytime I see someone get anything but ice cream at Dairy Queen, I'm like, no.
I'm saying, like, you're holding out the line. You're holding out the line for a burger. No. And I feel like Boaz would be that. Like, she'd be the one that would get a complicated order. I feel like she'd get a complicated order. Just be like, "Oh, no, I'm going to get like, you want some fries? You want a burger? Oh, you want some chili too? They got some chili. Bro, we're at a Dairy Queen." Okay. I feel like that's exactly what she would do.
Yeah, she's like the one friend in the group that's like, "I don't like ice cream."
Yes! That's Boquan. What was it? Okay, speaking of Boquan, I must admit, there's been some, like, talk about her being a lesbian.
Yeah.
And I just want to say on this live, I 100% support that. If Boquan's a lesbian, that makes total sense on why I got into Korean pop music and why I love her music and her as a person. I think she's like the sweetest person on God's green earth. So yeah, I 100% condone it.
Oh, of course. I think there's some evidence for it. You're probably thinking of the same video on Twitter that I saw, where it was like the compilation of all the gay boa evidence.
I didn't even know people were collecting that. They were like, what else would we do? I'm like, no, you're right. We're in the middle of a pandemic. What else we gonna do? Like, what was it? I know that I feel so bad because I know that we're still on like what 2008, and
I didn't even finish 2005.
Oh, we didn't finish 2005.
No, but fuck it, just keep going.
Okay, so going into 2008, I see Perfume's Baby Cruising Love, Macaroni, and Dream Fighter. Game was everything.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Game was really, really good. Now, of course, I have a personal favorite of Triangle, but that's when I got into him. That's just my personal favorite, but Game is good. Game is good. JPN is good. Like, those are very good albums, and I really feel like Game changed up what Japan was doing with just music in general. It really made them go, all right, we don't have to just do Vocaloid here. We can actually have real voices over an electronic beat.
Yeah.
And it made me so happy because I'm cool with Vocaloid, but I don't know why. It's hard for me to kind of listen to the music and there's a robotic sound on it. Beats are good. Like the beats. Voice, and it's hit or miss for me. And then Perfume was like, well, just listen to us instead. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And when I found out about 2008, with Game, it was over. It really was. But I think like that's what I liked with 2008. And then I did also see that on your list you had down like New Look, Black Diamond, and Sexy Girl by Nami and Moro. Okay, those were cute songs, but what a feeling!
Yeah.
What a goddamn feeling! Wow, that made me like the 80s. That really did.
Yeah. No, her whole collection, 60s, 70s, 80s, just collection of bops, some of her best songs.
And you know the thing I noticed too? Wait, hold on. Before I miscalculate, but I feel like every song that she covered was sung by a Black woman.
Probably. Isn't she the one Janet Jackson is her favorite artist?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Irene Cara is Black. The woman who sang What a Feeling. I think that's why I like both. I mean, Nami and Moro. And I think that's why I like Nami and Moro. Because I really love like the Jacksons. I love Michael Jackson. I love Janet Jackson. I love like the actual Jacksons. I was raised on Motown, like funk and stuff. So then I listen to their music and they're inspired by that music. Oh my God, that's it. Y'all, you have just witnessed an epiphany in real time. Wow. Yeah, she really did. I love the 60s, 70s, 80s thing. It made me feel, I don't know, it made me feel like, you know, she sees us. She's like, look, I see you. Okay, I see you, and I see you. It was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah. In the chat, Jay says that they're that friend. I think about the ice cream, like going to Dairy Queen, not for ice cream. Eric says once Perfume came out with Cling Cling, they went downhill. What do you think about that?
I can't say anything about that. I'm publicly known as a stan. But I think that was kind of like the turn that happened. But I also wonder if kind of after Clean Clean, that was when the girls were able to sing more, like sing more in their natural voice instead of kind of have it auto-tuned a little bit. So, because I know that Achan was really pushing for that. She's like, I want to sing in my real voice. And Yasutaka was like, girl, if you don't get in that booth and just sing on a flat note, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, but I do also notice that that's the same time that Capsule went downhill. Because Clean Clean came out in 2014, and the last good Capsule album that came out was Caps Lock, and that came out in 2013. Okay. Unfortunately, every single thing that Capsule releases coincides to how Perfume is going to sound. So, and nowadays, everything that Kiari releases, it coincides with what Perfume is going to sound. So it's kind of like, it's a way of me knowing what type of music Perfume is going to come out with. Some Perfume fans believe that, some don't, but I mean, like, I'm not digging that deep, and it's that obvious to me. So it's just ears pick up on what's actually happening. And I do notice that Yasutaka Nakata did start going downhill with his music and his music production as soon as the United States of America was like, do y'all know who Yasutaka Nakata is? He's this wonderful, like, DJ producer who has influenced Skrillex, Medion, and other amazing other artists. They never said white artists, but it was mostly white artists from, like, France, New Zealand, Australia, and the United States. Like, it really was, like, all the European colonies. Oh, wait, sorry, in France. But, yeah, like, that's what they did. And then I think he kind of, like, got a big head and was like, oh, my shit bangs. And I was like, yeah. And then he just messed up the flow, and he was like, I'm going to get into future bass. I'm like, no. That's when it started to really go down, and it affected every person who was under Yasutaka Nakata. It affected Kari Perfume, Capsule. I think that Mito Natsume girl, because she was under Yasutaka Nakata for a second, and I was like, oh, really? And then she left him. She was like, this is not it. This is not the vibe. And that's probably why Meg left Yasutaka Nakata. She was like, I'm going to do my own thing, okay? Okay. This is too much. And she left him like 4 years before that happened. But yeah, I do agree with that. I do agree that after Cling Cling, it went down a bit, quality-wise. I did kind of believe that when Cling Cling released, that was the first time it started to go down. But everyone loves Cling Cling, so I'm not going to say the Cling Cling was bad, but I, at first listen, I was like, this is not it. So
was Cling Cling after Spring of Life or before?
It was 2 years after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Spring of Life. That's the Holy Grail. That was the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I like that song. That was a good song.
I love that song, yeah. I love the video.
Yeah, whenever I showed that video to anyone, they would look at me crazy.
They would what, sorry?
Oh, they would look at me crazy.
Oh.
I loved it. And the only people, like, I'm still friends with people who actually love Perfume and that I met in college because they were like, okay, this is what Carl likes, and I'm going to try to understand it, which means they were trying to understand me. So it was like a great way to test what's, friendships and how long they were going to last for me in college. So I would play them Spring of Life and Edge and Game and Love the World and of course One Room Disco because I was like, what? We're going to the West. And then I played them Hurly Burly if I thought that they had no taste outside of the United States.
Okay, yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask. When you go to their concerts, are you bringing these friends along, or like were you going there by yourself?
At first I went there by myself because it was a whole plane ride to get to them. Because I was coming from Iowa to LA at the time, and I knew that none of my friends was going to drop more than $100 to go see Perfume live.
Yeah.
But I went out to see them the first time, and then the second go round, I went with a friend who, the biggest apologies, if she's watching this now, Vivian, I'm so sorry that you had to stay in that nasty, roach-infested, crazy-ass house that I lived in. But I'm so glad that you did because you were like the holy grail in that experience. But she came and stayed at my place to see Perfume in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the second time, and I went with her. And there was like other people there that would say hi to me and stuff, but we weren't like close friends. We were kind of like coffee friends. And then the third time, that was when I started to really connect with people and become more friends with people in LA. And I'm really, really glad about that happening, because I do notice that when I'm out in Los Angeles, a lot of people hang out with each other based off of like their ethnicity and based off of their skin tone. And I don't know how to act like that. Like, I don't know how to act with just one racial group of people.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do things? How do we talk? What do we do? You know? And then I go to the Perfume concert, and then there are people who are friends with me that are like all these different ethnicities. I'm like, okay, my brain knows what to do here. Like, we talk about similar interests. Like, you like Perfume? Great. You know about this? Great. Have you watched this show? Cool. So that was really good. And then I became really good friends with those people out in Los Angeles. And now I do go with my friends if Perfume comes to a concert. But before, no, I was all by myself.
Wow. I don't remember why I asked that. We got a question in the chat. Eric asked, do you both read Arama Japan?
Oh, yeah, I've read it a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll read it like... I'll read it once in a while. Like, I follow them on social media, but I definitely don't like read everything they put out. But they have like a couple writers on there that are very messy. Like, they are just writing an article to be a shit disturber.
Like, what, politically? Like,
no,
personally, opinion-wise?
Like, they'll make a headline that's just dragging Ayumi Hamasaki in order to get people to click on it and like leave them comments.
Just say you don't like it and move on. Like, at that point, if you're spending your whole time writing an article about a musician that you don't even like, you are butthurt, you're jealous, like, you're obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsession. I can't do that. What the heck? Like, we were talking about this earlier, where I was like, I don't really listen to Yumi Hamasaki, she's not my style, that's good for Japan. And you were like, oh, you're gonna get dragged. But you feel like I I minded my business. I said nothing negative about her. I understand her influence in J-pop and keep it moving. This is what happens when, you don't care that much about the musician, you keep them on. But when you write a whole article, for what? Do they get paid for this?
I'm not sure. Probably, but...
I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pay their New York City rent.
Okay. Yeah, so, we read it occasionally.
I just want to be like, okay, and then you're trying to imagine, like, how broke. Just like, whatever. Whatever, I'm moving on.
Okay, so I want to just jump back quickly to the notes here. So Ayumi Hamasaki was grinding in 2005. She's always working. She released Step You, Is This Love, Fairyland, Heaven, Bold and Delicious. Kodakumi had 3 singles out. Maki Goto, she started her solo career outside of Morning Musume. I don't know if you know her. She's done a couple songs with Nami. She released her biggest single in 2005, which was Story. Chris Lakay came out with Koi no Utada and 2 as 1, featuring Chemistry. Koi no Utada is one of her biggest singles. And Be My Last already talked about Linear Motor Girl. Remy Oroman came out with Konayuki, which was like a massive song. It was a theme song for a drama. Have you ever watched any Japanese dramas?
I watched the one that had Perfume on it, but I don't know if that was a drama.
What was that?
It was like called Pensies.
I've never heard of it.
It was like I believe that was a French word. And they were like, yeah. And they went into this house, and I honestly don't know what they were doing. I watched it. I read the captions. I don't know what they were doing. But I watched it. I remember that I watched that. It was very good. I was comfortable. I wrapped the blanket around, but that's the only one I've seen.
Okay. Then Tommy February had Lonely and Gorgeous, which is the only song I know by her.
You know, I heard a lot of Tommy February because of Tumblr.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were posting Tommy February's music and Meg's music.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I found out about Lonely and Gorgeous, and because I kept seeing it on my Tumblr, I kept hearing it. And then, what was it, like 7 years later? Because this was back in 2011 when I kept seeing Lonely and Gorgeous. And then, I think it was like in 2018, I was in the middle of work, and I was like, Lonely and Gorgeous, yeah. I'm like, what's that song? Like, I didn't know where it came from, but it was stuck in my head. It just kept playing.
It's so catchy. It is so catchy, yeah. Speaking of Tumblr, back in like when Tumblr was bigger, but I found the perfume fandom on Tumblr was so fucking funny. Like they made their own memes all the time. It was just so funny.
I wondered sometimes, like, was the perfume fandom on Tumblr like the big conga that like made a whole bunch of memes for like J-pop Tumblr? Because it kind of seemed like they were. I didn't know if that was like being headed to me. Okay, because I remembered we would have like all these big things, and then we'd also have scandals as well. But also, most of the people who were posting on there were in their early teens. Like, there was this one kid who joined the perfume tag, and he just turned 13. Aww. And was like, you know, all the good gays, yes, all you want, all the bad gays, no. And I was like, what is this post? And then I saw everyone take that phrase and then put it on like their other fandoms. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was really, really weird. And then the Valentine's Day cards thing, which I know came from Super Hulock. Like, that was a Super Hulock thing. In like the J-pop circles, I didn't see a lot of people do that. And then one of my good friends today, he did it and would like at specific Tumblr accounts and just drag them onto the card. It was like, DJ Blank, you know what? Your beats sound like crap and you keep hitting on underage girls. I need you to stop. Love this name. And I'm like, why did you do that? And he's like, I don't know. It was fun. There was even one about like Perfume 444, and I'm like, look, he doesn't even have a Tumblr. Leave that man alone. Okay, he just figured out how to make a new YouTube video. Like it was insane. The jokes and the comedy and the memes it really overshadowed a lot of what was going on in J-pop Tumblr.
There was an account called Just J-pop Things that made their own memes, and like there's a bunch of people on J-pop Twitter now who know who it was, but they won't like out them, and whoever it was won't like own up to it now on Twitter. But
I believe it was probably a homosexual man.
Yes.
Yeah. Only because the content seemed like this was made by a homosexual man. And that's okay. Just be who you are. That's
like the dominant demographic, it seems like.
Yeah, I will admit it. For J-pop, especially online, because I know that in the forums, it really was like older people and people who went to Japan and then bought a CD and was like, oh my God, I love this album so much, I gotta talk to people about it. You know, like that's how it was in the forums. And then once it all kind of hit into Tumblr, it was mostly a lot of gay men.
Yeah.
A lot of gay men. I think most of the time whenever I interacted or had a good time in the J-pop fandom circuit, it was mostly of women. Like when it was women, it was like a good time, it'd be funny, fun. And then one of the men would come in. And I'm just like, so what are you gonna do? Look what I can do. And they were just doing a thing that was not okay, a bit offensive. I was like, all right, so I'm not here for this. It really kind of set up, it kind of influenced like my feeling towards a certain group of gay men.
Mm-hmm.
I thought because most of them were white. They were mostly white gay men. And I was like, okay, so this is just how they are. I didn't know how it was. Everyone from my hometown were like gay men of color. I barely knew a white gay man, and I'm from Iowa. I don't know. Maybe like white people were more ashamed of coming out. I don't know what happened in the 2000s. That wasn't my business. I minded my own work at Catholic high school. But like that is what would happen. And it just be so uncomfortable and embarrassing. And I'm like, okay, this is all right. And then I remembered in 2015, we like created this little perfume thing. Mm-hmm. And that blew up in our faces. And the literal reason why was because there was two gay men acting like fools. I mean, there's more to it, but they're both gay. They were both born men. And they were acting like fools. So it's kind of like A plus B equals, you can't sit with us. Like that's, and ever since then, I'm like, I have my friends. I've got like my limit. I don't need any more. I've got the girls, got the gays, got more girls coming in talking to me about J-pop, K-pop stuff. I'm gonna stick with them. Because those are the people who got me into the fandom in the first place, and that were really nice and welcoming and stuff with me, and it was really, really nice. And then there were very few, and I do mean very few gay men. Many of them were gay men of color who were very open and welcoming and nice and kind, and even donated to the Stand's campaign for season 2. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. But like whenever there was like a gay man on there that was mostly white, it really was like, okay, are we going to get offended? Do we have to have a conversation? Is this going to be a bad day or a good day? What are we doing? It was kind of like babysitting a child.
Yeah.
You can tell if the child was going to burn the house down. And I think that's the thing that's going to get me dragged and like controversial, but that's really how it feels. And it was very weird. I know that because I was so consumed into J-pop, and then I got into Azealia Banks too, which I'm really glad I did, because it really helps me understand how American people consume social issues and process them. So if you ever want to know how American people really think about social issues, most of them, just go to Azealia Banks. Azealia Banks, not Kanye West, because he doesn't really have much of an opinion or thought about stuff, but Azealia Banks for sure.
I've only listened to a couple of her songs.
That's more than most people down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most of them just call her an onomatopoeia rapper, or they just think that she's awful. I've had so many people tell me not to like her and not to listen to her stuff. And I'm like, okay, but y'all want me to listen to a white person that want to call me the N-word in bed. I don't want to. Yes, I don't want to listen to them. I'd rather listen to this problematic black chick than this white girl who wants to call me an N-word in bed. No, thank you. If I have to pick my battles, if I have to pick my demons, I'll pick her.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like, when I got into that fandom, along with being in the perfume fandom / pretty much J-pop fandom, because I started to get into like Meg and Capsule and like Sawa as well, thanks to the J-pop community. It really kind of, I was watching like this. Okay, I'm a sociologist too, so like I really kind of study society a lot of the time, and I was watching how the identity of being a gay man was like rapidly changing all the way from 2011 to I think up until 2017, and it hasn't really changed since. It's kind of like the same thing, and a lot of gay men now on TikTok are talking against it, and it feels like they're having the same conversation that we had on like Tumblr, and we just type it out, and I just be like, oh, I agree with that, retweet, reblog, and it's really interesting. They're like, well, we don't always have to worry about sex. We don't always have to do this. We don't always have to like act like a woman. Like we just do whatever we want. Like I was like, oh my God. I remember they had conversations when I loved it. And like the language kept being like the same 5 words over and over. And I was like,
Yeah.
are y'all okay? You know, like, and then there'd be like some gay porn guy scandal that would be on our timelines. I'm like, I don't know who this man is. Is this really like a big thing? Like, is this the big controversy in the community? I was so confused. Oh my God. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to mind my business. I'm going to be over here. I'm just going to retweet my stuff. I'm going to connect with other screenwriters and, you know, that at the time. But yeah, like, I do realize that with Japanese pop and like the consumption of it, there were a lot of people who consumed it that were gay men because the women there sang very powerful stuff and they sang music in completely different varieties, completely different genres, doing a lot of what they wanted to do and was, you know, being loud and proud about it. And I understand the connection with it. And I'm glad that there was a connection with that community and with Japanese pop artists because I really like Japanese pop, but I also grew up with a lot of people who are queer. So I kind of don't really know for sure how to act around, like, being around a whole bunch of people who are straight because, like, my family are queer. So it's like, okay, I need some type of queerness to feel regular. And then it was right there with the J-pop community. So it was really, really nice to have that. And it was also really fascinating to see how, like, you know, the gay male community would work, especially like with everything changing with like social media and stuff like that in the 2010s. While also going back to my hometown and just seeing like a whole bunch of gay men just chilling, minding their business, scratching their butt, and getting married. And then I go out of my hometown and they're just like, who's gonna fuck me? And I'm like, whoa, that is such a drastic change. So drastic. So I was like, okay, this is opening my eyes to the difference. This is opening my eyes to like what things are different here. I get it now. So now whenever anybody will talk about this at a party and, you know, they're a gay man, I'll know what they're talking about. Thank you, Tumblr. Thank you, J-pop music community. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Like, it seems like gay men and boys when they're growing up like gravitate towards like the diva persona, and then if you're like any sort of nerd, you can like really easily insert yourself into the like J-pop diva niche.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh my God. Okay, so this is one nerd. He works for Google now, so I can't say his name, but he like I went to Catholic high school, so somebody was going to get teased for being gay. I didn't know that was happening. If I knew that was happening, if he just told me, I would have cussed him out. I don't like bullying. But he didn't. He decided to take matters into his own hands, and he was like, I'm going to hack into Facebook. He just made an account of this kid that's bullying me for being gay. And then I'm going to have him come out as gay to all of his, like, friends and family members on Facebook. Because the kid that was bullying him didn't have a Facebook. Because it was kind of like a masculine thing to not have a Facebook back in the day, but after that incident at my high school, all of the guys got a Facebook. They were like, whoa. Hilarious. But yeah, so like he did that. And I was like, why did you do that? He's like, because I wanted to. And he's like a whole nerd. You know, he loves coding on and stuff, and he really could have done it without actually having to create an account. He could just have made one up and then it disappeared as soon as someone tried to check it. But he didn't do all that. And I just remembered that he was really, really, really in love with a lot of Japanese pop music. And he kind of was with this one girl that was in our friend group. I mean, he kind of treated her like a beard. And I was like, you know, I think like she's actually into you, him. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It's time for you to come out. Like, so, because I remember, like, my brother would come to my high school to, like, because they'd be, like, little family event thing for football. And he would come and, like, hang out with me and stuff like that. And he met one of my friends, and he met the geeky kid that did that hacking thing. He was like, oh, he's completely gay. You see that haircut? You see that watch? See that style? I'm like, I'm not paying attention to any of that, William. I'm like, you see this? If I'm not looking, I'm not paying attention. I'm obviously not looking. So, So yeah, like that's what happened, and then I clued in on it, and I was like, he is, and then the whole thing happened with that. But he was geeky, and he really liked Japanese pop music, and the girl that he was with really she really liked J-pop. She knew Kote Monika when Kote Monika was out. I'm like, how? Like, we didn't have connection to broadband internet down here until like 2005, 2006. Here she go. Y'all know Kote Monika? Y'all know about like Strawberry Machine or whatever? I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
This is like a smooth 2008. We don't even know about all this stuff yet. But yeah, she had the connections and the ends, and the guy, like, they both connected, and he fell in love with Yumi Hamasaki.
Oh, yeah.
He fell in love with her. I was like, okay.
Those people that know, like, they're there at the beginning and they know all of the underground stuff, I'm just like, teach me everything you know.
They were literally the plug. Like, I do remember that my first plug was my friend from middle school, and she was, I'll be honest, she was the only Asian person that I ever interacted with the first time in my life. And I didn't even think about it like that. I was just like, oh, hey, Jennifer, what's up? And then, she come in, she, like, give us treats. And I'm like, what are these treats? It's like, oh, it's just, some homeland treats. It was like treats from Korea. I was like, right! And they tasted so good. They were good. They were sweet. Some really salty. So then I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to hang out with you. You give me treats. And then, one of my friends, they were exchanging anime because she was able to get anime and stuff from her uncle that was like straight up from Japan or like from California. And so it was like dubbed or something. And she was our plug. So every single time, she'd give us a DVD of something and we'd watch it and we'd give it back to her. It was like a really good honor system. And I knew that I got her trust because I was the only guy that she would ever let me borrow her DVDs after the Chobits one, because some of the guys that would want to borrow the CDs wanted to borrow the CDs and do things. That's all I'm going to say because we're on YouTube. But yeah, they wanted to do the same thing with my Love Hina books. And if you ever heard of Love Hina or seen like the covers of the manga books, you can put two and two together. But yeah, so like she definitely got me into Chobits, and that's how I found out about Roundtable featuring Nino, and found out a little bit about Capsule and stuff, and just found out about like all of these cool artists that I was like, oh, those names are too complicated for me to know. I was like 11 or 12. I was like, so did everyone watch Grey's Anatomy? No, it's a good show. I like Grey's Anatomy. You like Grey's Anatomy? Like that was as far as I went with it. But yeah, like she was a plug, and she knew about those artists, and she even knew about like some Korean artists too. Like people are finding out about like Korean pop music from the 80s, and my friend Jennifer was playing that for us back in 2004 and 5. So it's really cool to see that stuff happening now, and like to see that connection. Because back in the day, like when I started to get more interested in it, it was the same reaction as you. Like, how do you get this stuff? I want to get into it.
It was so like rare and hard to get then. Like even just watching anime was like a mind blowing experience. And then when like I remember the mainstream channels here started playing like the anime that was coming out in Japan, like as it was getting translated, because we had, when I was really little, we had like Sailor Moon and Astro Boy, and that was kind of like it with Dragon Ball. And then all of a sudden there was like the anime wave where they jumped on like Naruto and Inuyasha and like all of those really big things that were coming out in Japan. And it was just like, I don't know. I was like a senior citizen, where I was like, you kids don't understand how much I worked to hear this shit when I was your age.
Oh yeah, like I think that was the thing that got me a little bit upset about people not checking out Japanese pop music, because we worked so hard to get that connection, and then we finally got it. And they're like, so have you heard of Korea? Okay. Yeah, but Japan right here. Here they go. Okay, but Korea.
Yeah.
Okay. I really did not care about Korean musicians. I listened to Boaz. I listened to Yuna, again, because of anime. They tried to make her another Oricon comment, and I guess it kind of worked, but not as well as Boa. And then that was it. And then I didn't really start getting into Korean pop music until Lim Kim in 2015. And oh my God, I know why. Because her music was kind of like this nice little coffee house music, but it was like a very calmer, a moodier version of like Japanese shibuya. I was like, oh, this is like Roundtable featuring Nino. I love this. And then I realized when I watched like that one K-drama, Birth of the Beauty, which I'm rewatching now, and God, it's good. I love Birth of the Beauty.
I've never heard of it.
It's definitely like it's this show about this one woman who is pretty much conventionally unattractive for like Korean standards. Like she's a bit bigger, you know, her voice sounds kind of like nasally masculine a bit. You know, she looks impoverished, and she dies. And then she comes back as like this beautiful bombshell looking like Korean model, and everyone's so starstruck by her beauty. And it's like the birth of the beauty. And the whole show was pretty much about her getting back at her husband and her husband's like mistress for killing her.
Oh shit!
And I'm like, oh, and it's so good too. Like, and the only reason why I got into it too was because of Tumblr screen caps. And there was this one screen cap, I think, where they showed this woman, and she was like, "You devilish wench." And then the woman who died came back as a beauty. She was like, "Yes, I came from hell." That's funny. That's very entertaining. Thank you, Simon. But yeah, like I would hear their music, and it really did just give me like that coffee house feel. It reminded me of like the sounds of the music that would be playing if I walked into a Barnes and Noble. You know, the sound of music that I would hear when it's like an album track, not the single, an album track on a Roundtable featuring Nino song. And I was like, oh, this is kind of comforting. This is nice. And then they do this dramatic song every time, like towards either the beginning or the end of the episode, where it's like, oh, I'm in love with you. And it'd be so dramatic. And I'm like, okay, I don't like that. I like the background. And then after all of that, Lim Kim came out. And Lim Kim was like, it was like she was giving the same sound, but she sounded more alternative, moodier. Like there were cuss words in her music too. And I was like, I've never heard cuss words on a Korean song. Let's get into this. And then I knew why, because she was over in New Jersey. She knew her English, number one. Number two, she hated being in the Korean pop music industry, and now she is a rapper. I don't know what she's doing, but that's when I started getting into Korean pop music, was because of Lim Kim.
I'm going to Google it.
I will also say that whenever I would mention Lim Kim, one of my best friends would always think I'm talking about Lil Kim. Yeah. And then he'd get mad, like, what the F does Lil Kim have to do with this? And I'm like, I'm talking about Lim Kim. We're talking about K-pop. Like, she's Korean. Oh. I love it. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, so Wikipedia just says her contract ended in 2016.
Yes.
So.
Like her contract ended, and I believe that she was very, very, very happy about it. Because when I would see her perform live for her music for the Simple Mind EP, or mini album as they call it over there, it did not seem like she liked it. I would always look up Upgrader, because that's like one of my favorite songs by her. And I see her perform it live, and Hakiki, she's just like bored. It's like, I love you in every way. I'm like, what is this? This isn't how it worked. This isn't what we agreed upon. This isn't how it sounded on the studio version. And she like done out of it. I was like, okay, maybe you don't like this. And then I didn't hear from her for like 3 years. And then she came out with Sulky and Generation. and everyone like ate up yellow. It was very like, it was very hot.
It looks like she's still active.
Yeah, like now she's doing indie stuff, like independent stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I don't care for it. I tried. I really tried. I think that's the thing with Korean pop music is that I've noticed that when I get into an artist, a lot of the times they're not sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. It's not that I hate K-pop. I just hate how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that I'll get into a musician and then after 2-3 years, I don't care.
Yeah, and if it's a group, they break up after 4 years. And
I mean, at this point, I'm surprised that Luna is still together.
Mm-hmm.
It's 12 girls. How the hell are they still together? In that industry? Huh? What?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd expect it for the United States. Well, no, actually, because they'd fight over racism. But, you know, like, what the hell? But, I mean, that's the same thing, too, because I remember I got into Luna in 2017, and then by 2019, I was over it.
Yeah.
That's like barely 2 years.
I've checked out some of their songs. I just feel like I don't get it. Like, their fans are very intensely into them, and like they know about this whole like mythology surrounding the concept of the group. And I'm like just coming at it from the outside, like listening to some of their songs. I'm like, yeah, those are K-pop songs, you know.
They're very cutesy-wootsy, like they're very indie. Like I feel like a lot of Luna fans who love Luna like indie pop music. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they think they like Korean pop. It's heavily influenced off of indie pop music. That's why I went into Luna. It sounds like indie pop music that I heard from white people in the 2000s. It's not anything that big or special. It's interesting. I think the most interesting thing that I heard was from Odd Eye Circle. Kim Lip, Jin Sung, Cherry, that was it. I loved it. And then all these other girls came. I forgot that we were doing Girl of the Month. I forgot that we were supposed to have 12. I didn't care for it. Hi annoyed me. I liked Favorite, but it reminded me of Nami Amuro. I like Colors, but it reminds me of indie pop music from the United States. So it's like, what makes Luna stick out for me? What does Luna give me that I need to keep living on this earth? Like, what does Luna give me to keep me going? And there's not really anything. And then ITZY came. I'm like, well, I'll just consume ITZY because Luna isn't really giving me anything that helps me keep going in life. Utada gives me something to keep going. Boaz gives me something to keep going. Nami gives me something to keep going. Perfume gives me something to get going. What does a lot of these Korean pop girls give me to keep going? Oh, a cute concept, a cute song. Okay. But what else is there? And I think that's the only reason why I get upset about Korean pop music, because the marketing is down. It's down pat. It's very, very good on what they do with marketing. I'm never going to bash Korea on how they pretty much invaded America, like the American music industry, and all the white people are just, oh, like that. Yeah. I will always give Korean pop for that. Like, they were not bashful. They're like, look, y'all love Gangnam Style. Y'all end up double pop a little big. Your kids listen to G. Okay, let's pay journalists to write about us. And it worked. Oh my God. I have to give Korea their props. Like, they really came to the United States and said, we're going to take all your money and your kids' interests too. And it worked. It worked. I 100% claps, because we weren't really producing anything unless it was offensive or filled with cuss words. I love that.
And that's where they crush J-pop too, because the Japanese record labels are like, we do not give a shit about you guys. We could not care less. Actually, we don't even want you to listen to our music or watch our music videos, so please be quiet and go away.
Yes, and I think that was the biggest reason why, like, I had to shut myself up and not even be mad at the kids for liking Korean pop more, because Korea accepted them. They accepted them as audience members. They accepted them as customers and clients that would want these artists. And I'm like, that's great. That's wonderful. That's how it should be. They thought of the world. They didn't think of just Korea. Now, some people do. I do notice sometimes, like with Twice, they're more popular in Korea than like around the world, even though we like twice. It's just they don't hit that much. That's fine, but they're still big. And then like with BTS, there's this, we're trying to hit the world. That's good. For a lot of times for Japan, the United States, Australia, Britain, Canada, New Zealand, like they're not thinking of the world. They're thinking of the small little community of people that are in their country. And, oh, I like that sound, I like this sound, I'm going to do this. Some people think outside the box. Some people combine all these different genres and make something new. Like that's what Kevin Shields did with shoegaze music. It was great. You know, lovely. It became a worldwide genre that like every genre, I mean, every ethnicity of people do now. That nobody expected. But like when I listen to American musicians nowadays, I'm not hearing, you know, what about the world? When I listen to a lot of Japanese pop artists, I don't hear what about the world. I hear, this is a cute song, here's a song. This is a cute song, here's a song. Like, the American people are like this. The Japanese people are like this. And I think that's where, like, a lot of times Japanese pop music were big misses for me. And the only time when I really liked Japanese pop artists was when they went against Japanese pop social norms. Like Nami Amoro's whole story is like very anti-Japanese social norms. Perfume, all of the girls are from Hiroshima, which used to be like a huge like refugee area for Korean people in the history's time. Nochi Madness, which if you don't know Nochi, that's fine.
I do.
Come on. Thank you. I met her too. I'll tell you about that after.
Oh, but, sure, like, yeah.
She's from Britain. She went to Japan, did her J-pop music. I was able to get into it. I loved her first album. I like her albums. You know, it had that what about the world sound because they were thinking about the world. They wanted to be international. They wanted to be big. Like Nami Laura said that her big favorite was Janet Jackson, and she loves Mariah Carey. And Mariah Carey even gave her a cosign. Looked at everyone, and she was like, you know what, you're cute. I'm going to get you a CD.
Yeah.
Like, she was so excited. She knew what the world was. And that's why I love like those artists because they thought of the world. They thought of everyone consuming their music instead of just this country. They made sure that their team thought, what about everyone? And I thought that was really good. And I guess like you can feel that. You can feel, I guess like maybe like their music sounds more cultured than most Japanese musicians, but it sounds more cultured because they're thinking of other cultures and other people aside from just Japanese people consuming them. And I think that was like a big reason why we all got into a lot of Japanese pop music in, you know, from 2005 to 2010, because a lot of people in there were thinking about us.
Yeah, that's kind of like a weird paradox in Japanese music is that the general public is kind of like fascinated with the outsider and like the half Japanese people or people who don't look Japanese or Asian like Crystal K, but they speak the language and they live there their whole lives. And people like Michi, like you're saying, and people who come from the outside in, and they're kind of like a point of fascination. But then at the same time, like they'll kind of like enclose them in the Japanese music industry and like hold on to them, and they don't like want to share them with the rest of the world. And I think the way they market their music videos and the way like Koreans market their music videos is like the thing that always gets my attention is like Korean record labels will put out like their full HD like 4K music videos with like built-in English subtitles. And then like the Japanese artists or the Japanese record labels will put out their like 30-second at the most clip that's 280p, and they're gonna take it down after 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was rough.
And now Avex is like, we're tanking, and we admit that we screwed up our marketing plans, and oops.
That, which is so sad. Like, didn't they admitted that last year?
It was really recent. It was pretty recent.
Because that's how suddenly all these, you know, Japanese pop musicians are starting to be in the US for consumption through Spotify. I'm still waiting for Bonnie Pink's discography, but I don't know when that's gonna happen because that's Warner Music Japan. They're never gonna tank. Thanks, Carrie. But yeah, like I'm glad that they're finally hitting that. It just sucks that they had to kind of go broke a little bit. But hey, that's how y'all are, Japan. I've looked up the history. You know, I read my little books to my knowledge. You don't really go outside that much. You said, oh, that's cute. Oh, over there, that's a big body of water. I'm not gonna cross. That's fine. I'm gonna go fishing. You know, like I get it. It's fine, but for the realms of music, and this is how I feel about America too, because oh my God, they're putting gates up for their music, and I feel like a lot of people aren't realizing that for Western music consumption. But another topic. But it's like everyone wants to hear your music. Everybody wants to hear your music. Like that's why I always think to myself, if Boaz had like a really good management team or came at the right time, maybe like at 2008, 2010, you know, because 2009, all the people that she could have worked with were extremely busy. I wholeheartedly believe that Boaz with Ludacris would have ate up the United States. That would have been great. Sean Garrett, I don't know who the hell that is. Ludacris, I know who Ludacris is. Ludacris is here, okay? That's a big name. Florida, big name. Like if Utada Carl collabed with Florida, big name. You know, like I really feel like if it had better management and stuff, we would have been able to see a little bit of of what was foreshadowed, what was going to happen in the mid to late 2010s. That we're going to consume more East Asian pop music. We're going to like it more, because at this point, a lot of times when I talk to people about, you know, differentiating what type of music I consume, because everyone thinks it's Korean now, when before they were just like, I don't know what that is. But I say, oh no, I like J-pop. And then they're like, huh, what's J-pop? And then I have to sing the Kingdom Hearts song for them to know what the hell I'm talking about. Because that was the closest thing that they had to like the exposure. So yeah, like that's like the best way to foreshadow, like, yeah, East Asian pop is coming.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really wish Utada would collab with a really big Western artist like Drake, or
that'd be hilarious, but it will work.
Yeah, then she would really like blow up. And I had really high hopes for Boa and Utada when they released their English CDs in 2009, 2010. But I watched like an English interview with Boa, and it kind of made me realize that like people with an accent when speaking English are pretty much never accepted in any form of media. Like, I feel like Westerners, as soon as they hear someone with an Asian accent, they immediately like want to just make fun of them. And that kind of like just broke my heart, because when I heard Boa, like she's trying so hard to just communicate in English, and she's good. Like she's not terrible English or anything, but I was just like, people will not take her seriously if they don't know who she is, like coming into the English music market.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, if I'll be honest with you, if you came down to, let's say we put you in LA, we're going to put you in LA.
Okay.
And you said bagels the way that you say bagels, they would just be focused on that for 5 to 10 minutes.
I hate you. How do I say it?
You say bagels.
How is that different? Bagels. But how do you say it? Bagels?
We say, crap, now I'm thinking of your version. We say bagels. So instead of bagels.
That's what I think I'm saying, bagels.
I mean, it's the same thing. No different. It's the same goddamn word. It's from the same language. But because here in the U.S., we pick at what's different. We pick at things that are not American, because all of our goals is to be as American as possible so we can succeed in this country. And if you're not as American as you can be, then you're not succeeding in this country. That's why there's like a lot of infighting when it comes to a lot of people of color, because it's like, you're not being American enough and you're not going to succeed. And we literally need money to survive here. Like we need money to go to the hospital. It's crazy. So it's always focused on how American can you be so that you can succeed in America. So even though like Boa Kwan was speaking very good English, like very well, like worked really hard, knows what she does. She knows 3 languages at this point. It doesn't matter because you kind of talk different. Try again, and then you have to like really perfect your English to try and do well in the American market. And then Tiffany Young came over and was doing things in the American market. And they still didn't accept her, but like she touring around here like an indie musician. She is touring around here like her name is like, who is that one girl? Who is that one girl? Like Inger Michelson.
I don't know.
Inger Michelson was a huge indie pop artist from Grey's Anatomy, and she was really, really big in the indie circuit. So like Hotel Cafe, all that type of stuff. So basically, like if you look up Inger Michelson, you're gonna find out about like that old Navy song, "Take Me the Way I Am." That one. If you don't know it, that's fine. That was probably only in America, but she was really big, but her concerts were really small. So like there'd be 3,000 people around, and that's kind of like what's happening with Tiffany Young. Her like she's a lot of people know her music, but when you come to the U.S., you have a tiny audience. Like not that many people are coming to your concerts. So if you're big in the U.S., you're having more than 10,000 people come to your concerts. When either way, you're making a lot of money. Like if the 3,000 people pay like $20 to see you, you're making a lot of money. But for American standards, you're not making anything.
Yeah, like concerts in a small venue are a way better experience a lot of the times.
That's honestly why like I stick with a lot of indie musicians and stick to the underground musicians and stuff, because I want to have a good time. I don't want to have a loud time. I don't want to be around like thousands of people. What if a bomb goes off? What if someone shoots us? I don't need all that. If somebody shoots us, there's like 5 ways out of this indie venue.
Yeah.
I know this. So like I could go to like a concert in Silver Lake, LA, and to see like an indie music, like a small indie musician, like Maria Taylor. You know, if you don't know her, that's fine. She's indie. She's small. And I could literally know 4 or 5 different ways out of the place, because she's going to pick a venue that she comfortably likes, because she lives like in Pasadena, so she just goes to LA to perform every now and then, and she picks like the same 2 venues. I know my exits. I know how to get out. A stadium? No. How am I going to get out? There's guards. But how am I going to protect myself? They took my stuff. What? Can't. Cannot. So like smaller venues makes it feel more kind of like communal. So then you recognize every face that you see. If somebody does something extreme, like if someone shoots up the place, you know who the person was. So, and I think a lot of people in my generation and the generation below me are feeling that, maybe. I don't know. Because I know that I don't go to big concerts anymore because of that reason. Because I don't want to be in a shooting spree. I'm good.
Just having to think about that and like, I don't know, it just seems very like normalized for you.
Yeah, because I think everyone in my generation realized that they weren't going to do anything when somebody shot up a whole bunch of kids and they still didn't get rid of guns. And I was like, oh. Okay, so I now am not going to go to the grocery store as much. Movie theaters, that's out. Malls, we ain't going to no malls. That's actually why malls are dying. I don't know if you've heard that, but like a lot of malls in the U.S. are dying, and that's a big reason why, because we don't want to get shot up at a mall.
Oh my
God.
everyone's
like, you're not going to malls because you're buying things at Amazon because we don't want to die. Like it's not funny, but it's funny because they're not connecting the dots. But like I think that's another big reason why like a lot of us got into Japanese pop music. I feel like there's a lot of nuances and stuff on like why American people consume East Asian pop music a lot more, because you could watch the videos, you can listen to the songs and stuff, and you have so much to unpack off it, just off of trying to decipher the lyrics, looking at all the cool colors, because they do give a different type of video style than like American musicians. American musicians is kind of the same. It kind of looks like someone who smoked pot made it. It usually is. So it's not that different. It's kind of the same crap all the time. And, there's dance moves. So then you stay home and you practice dance moves. And you meet up with your friends, you practice dance moves. It gives you reasons to kind of like stay home or like do all these things that would, that would make you love the song even more. That's why I wish that the United States would do that again with their music, but they're not. They're just, it still feels like that they don't know what to do with their music. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like that, it's like a huge, huge reason why I feel like a lot of people stayed home and would rather spend 2 hours trying to legally download a J-pop album instead of go outside.
God. Yeah, but going to the shitty Western music, like I feel like the past few years, the songwriting has been at like an all-time low of the past 20 years. It's just anytime I happen to hear the radio somewhere or like turn it on in the car, I'm like, I really don't get this. It's insane.
You know the thing that hits me the hardest is whenever I hear a song from Western, from the West, and there's cuss words on it, and it doesn't flow with the beat.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you do that? What was the point? Because I can.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. It doesn't flow. It's it upsets me to my core. I don't care if you cuss on the beat. Mm-hmm. If you cuss on beat, you're on beat. But if you're cussing off beat and you're just cussing the cuss, you sound like a child who just found out what the word fuck was. That's how it seems. Mm-hmm. And it's so bad. It's so bad. And I feel like every time I talk about it, people be like, okay, grandpa. And I'm like, but okay, I'll shut up. I'll have talk.
I hate when they put it on the radio then after they've like been cussing throughout the song, and then they have to bleep it out or like silence it on the radio. And so the rapper, like whoever, like I heard Drake's most recent song on the radio the other day, and he says like one word at the beginning of the phrase, and then it's just like bleeped out for the rest of the phrase. I'm like, I heard nothing. Like, what was he even saying?
Yeah, like that right there, that's another reason. It's like, okay, you're cussing all the time, but do you have to put the music on the radio? Like,
yeah.
What are you going to do with that? So,
yeah.
But they're not even thinking about the radio anymore. They're like, well, it's on Spotify. So they keep taking this Spotify music, and people have even written articles about it, about like Spotify pop. And I'm like, is that why our music sucks? Like, that why every song sounds like something that you listen to at 3 in the goddamn morning?
Yeah.
I'm over it. Like, I thought it was because we were depressed, but no, there's more. Like, and that right there, it's like, I think that's a big reason why I really miss Japanese pop music. Like, talking about Japanese pop music today, it is kind of like more slim pickings off of, what we can consume and all that stuff. There was one song that you put on your list, I can't even pronounce it correctly. It's like, Yoasobi? Is that how it's pronounced correct?
Which one? Where in the list is it?
It's like for the big songs in 2020, like top 3.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure. Yoasobi?
Yoasobi, yeah, because I think that it got big on TikTok.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I see them everywhere.
Yeah, because I was like, what's a Yoasobi? And then I found out, this is a TikTok song. And I like it. I have no qualms with it. But the fact that I heard that song, and it's like the first time that I've heard a J-pop song for a while outside of like the people I found out about in the 2000s that I liked, I was like, that's not good. That's not good.
So I guess there must be like a big Japanese usership on TikTok.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So to talk about Japanese usership on TikTok, that's actually why I really liked TikTok at first. Mm-hmm. I don't as much now since America acquired the data, but it was so much fun. Like I see stuff from China, Korea, Japan. I was like, yay! And then whenever I'd see something from Europe, I'd block it.
Oh, okay.
And it would listen. It wouldn't show me it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what are you going to show me that I didn't learn from history class?
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately, it is all kind of the same thing. Sorry, Europeans. But yeah, like there is a big thing there. It's just like a lot of the songs that they use we can't hear. So it's like, oh, here's this thing. You are not allowed to hear the song because it's not allowed in your country. So then I have to like take the song and send it to a different app to hear it. But yeah, like, and that was one of the songs that was popping off was Yoasobi. I don't even remember the title. I think it was like Racing into the Night. It was Racing into the Night.
Okay.
I was like, this isn't bad. I like it. It kind of like reminds me of, I don't know what it reminds me of, but I like it. So far, it's like them, Dayako. I guess not really Soccer Action because they're not that active in the 20s right now. But I really like them. And this other guy, I can't, like, Kenshi, thank you.
Yeah, Kenshi Yonezu.
Yes.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. He's really good too. I like his stuff. And listening to his stuff, I'm like, oh my God, this is what we were listening to. Wait a minute. It made me feel good.
He's one of those artists that is the reason that I got into Japanese music and what originally like fascinated me with it, where they really value singer-songwriters and like real artists. And I was so amazed by like this humongous music market where they would push like singer-songwriters to the very top and they would like always be in the top spot, whatever. But like here in the West, that never ever happens.
Yeah, we look for entertainment and then we want
art.
Something. We want to be entertained by you. We want to make fun of you. And then we want you to double down on that thing that we know you love.
Yeah.
And then offer a little twist that will make us think that you are a flawed human being or different or, you know, you're everything under the sun. Like there's something special about you. Because I was studying about how to become an icon. And it's a very westernized focus on how to become an icon, but it can definitely apply throughout the world. And there's kind of like this thing where you pigeonhole yourself into this type of person that everyone sees you as. So for me, like happy-go-lucky, goofy black guy, okay, I'll pigeonhole myself into that. Then I double down on it. And then I offer a little twist, a little difference that'll make them go, oh my God, he's human. He's human. Oh my, I love him because he's human. He just gets it, you know. He just gets it, and that's definitely something that needs to be like that. America expects entertainers to do, for musicians to do. Anybody who goes into the field of show business. So let's say with Megan Fox, there was some type of role that she did. She was pigeonholed in it. She doubled down on it, and then with Jennifer's Body, she added a twist. And now everyone knows Megan Fox. And we remember her off of like that lighter thing and her sticking her tongue out.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge, like that's an iconic photo. Because she did that so well. She learned her lines, she learned her compositions, she was able to, you know, take really good photos and pictures, and she really learned, you know, the craft of acting. She's a very good actress. So at the end of the day, if I ever write any scripts and I have the opportunity to choose an actress on it, I'm going to choose Megan Fox because she learned the craft of show business. And that's what we want in America. We want you to entertain us with something superficial. Yeah. We want to put you in a box. And then we want you to reinforce our thinking of us putting you in a box. Like, if we think that you're a slut and you're taking all these slut roles, and then you confirm that you're a slut, then we feel good in ourselves that we have thought that you are a slut. And it confirms us that we're right. And then you add a little twist where, you know, the person who has always pretended to be a slut be like, you know, I kind of want to be married. I like to have a kid. And then that's that little twist. And they're like, oh my God, the slut is a human. The slut is a human. Did you see that? The slut is a human. We like them. Like, you know, I can kind of get them. It's definitely that type of process of culture and being an icon in the United States We don't really want to know much about you. We want to assume who you are. And you double down on that assumption. And you add us a little twist to kind of prove that we're wrong. Because people get bored of being right a lot of the time. So you gotta prove they're wrong just a tiny bit. Not too much, just a tiny bit. And then they'll love you. You can see that with Cardi B.
Yeah.
So she just hasn't added that little twist yet.
I feel like in the past couple of decades, there's been a lot of like, we want celebrities that we can build up and build up and build up and then drag them down and have that like Schadenfreude moment where they have their like great collapse. And I want to get into like cancel culture and all that shit, but like BW in the chat has just said Megan Fox has a deformed thumb. And it's not even like deformed, it's just like a different kind of thumb. And like everyone, that's kind of like what I was talking about, where we want to like tear them down. Where it's like, I feel like everyone wanted to tear down the like super hot pretty girl because we'd found like the one thing that was wrong with her.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that like that's honestly the surface of why she got taken down. It was literally because of sexism. Yeah, she stood up for herself behind the scenes. Because, what was it? I think, like, Michael Bay was in charge of, like, the Transformers thing, and then he wanted her to do something, and she was like, no. So she got written off, and she got replaced by another girl. And I was like, all because she stood up for herself? For real? And it's been crapshoot like that. Like, what happened with Katherine Heigl? I recently found out that Katherine Heigl, Izzy Stevens from Grey's Anatomy, that girl literally just stood up for what she thought was right, which is literally what they tell us to do in the United States. And then she got reprimanded for it. Like, she was on Knocked Up with Seth Rogen? Yeah, Seth Rogen. There's so many Seths. Seth Rogen. And she was like, it was a funny movie. It's a little sexist, but it was funny. I liked it. Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen ripped that girl to shreds, and she was, like, blacklisted the whole time. I haven't heard from her again until, like, this year on Netflix with this one book series called, oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. My mom knows what it's called because she got mad at it and was like, this is Beaches. And I was like, okay, Mom, I'm like not that old to know what Beaches is, but I know you love that movie. So, but then, yeah, like I haven't seen her on the small screen for a long time. And it was really because she just was like, yeah, this thing's sexist, and the 4th season storyline of Grey's Anatomy isn't worthy enough for my character to get a Emmy. And she was right. Her character storyline wasn't good. So it really reminds me of that stuff. And I think that's another reason why I went over to J-pop. I'm sorry. Like, everything that we talk about Western culture is like why I go over to Japan or why I go over there. Like, because it's definitely, I use it as a means to escape. And I know that a lot of people who are like claim themselves as weebs and stuff, they do that same thing. But I also know that Japan has its dark secrets. It's like, yeah, I use this as a means to escape, but I know that they still messed up. Like, you know, they're an industrialized group of people who used to be like a Nazi country. Like, like, come on, let's not be dumb.
And sexism is extremely rampant in Japan. They're like in the 1950s as far as feminism goes. So.
Yeah, the lack of feminism, the lack of progression, the lack of, like, we could go on for days with their issues, but if I watch an anime after being called the N-word, I feel better. If I listen to Perfume after being told that I can't be friends with a certain group of people because they're not black like me, I feel better. Like, all of those things and more, and all of this stuff that happens, you know, I think by the time I was like 17, 18, when all this extreme stuff, pretty much when Obama became president, everyone just started acting a fool and saying the most offensive stuff. Like, everybody was like, let's be more racist. And I'm like, who told you to do that? I don't need it. And I'm in the North too, so like Northerners were like, we're just gonna be a little more obvious because, you know, we're not racist anymore, so we can say whatever we want. I'm like, oh my God. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. But that was when I really dove deep into Japanese pop music. So like, whenever I think of Japanese pop music, and when I got into it the deepest was like towards 2009. So like after everybody got, you know, dealt with the whole economic depression and most middle class people got screwed over. So they were like, we're going to be offensive now. I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
For what? But yeah, like I remember, like I noticed so much sexism that happened in America. I noticed all the anti-Asian racism that happened. I am still mad that in Romeo Must Die, Jet Li and Aaliyah did not kiss. That will always piss me off. Like I don't know one black person that like watched that movie and was like, yeah, that was smart. No, we were all mad. We're like, Jet Li should have kissed the girl. Like, why didn't he kiss the girl? Like, it made me so upset. And I remember when that happened, I would re-listen to the ending song of Outlaw Star because I really liked that song. That was a favorite song of mine. I didn't have connection to the actual song. Man. But yeah, I would listen to it. And I remember that happened because I was like, that was stupid. He should have kissed her. And then a Kid on Rise starts playing in my room. Or like I'm watching Tenchu Leo, or like I'm watching like a Card Captain Sakura DVD or something. Cause I watched the movie and made me upset. I was over it. I know that after I watched the Mean Girls movie, I was like, okay, I guess that was good. And then I went into anime. I started reading the manga book. I'm like, so I obviously did not like what I was consuming, and I was rejecting it and trying to heal myself off of like the offense of what was on the screen. It's like I didn't laugh that much. Like I remember I watched Mean Girls, I didn't laugh. Everyone worships that movie, and I feel like everyone thinks that American people love that movie, but no, it just made me feel bad about how American people treat women. Because that was like the culmination of it. It was like, you want a comprehensive story on how American people treated women in the 2000s? It's Mean Girls. That's why they connect with it so much. That was a trauma bond. That was a trauma bond movie right there. But yeah, it was just, everything is so offensive and so ridiculous and so like bad. And the more I get exposed to it, the more I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go over to Japan. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go over to Korea. Like, when the pandemic hit and they started blaming Black people for it, I got really into Ashio, who's like this really small underground Korean musician. She makes like really dreamy pop music. And I got obsessed with her. I was listening to her music. Okay, I started in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, July. Okay, so almost 13 months. I've been listening to her music every single day for 13 months because it's healing me. And it's all the way in Korea. I don't have to hear much English. It's like I'm gone in a way. It's like I can just escape. And I don't know if most Japanese pop musicians relate to that or, get that, but I think that really fueled like my consumption of Japanese pop.
How do you spell her name?
Oh, Aseul. It's like Aseul.
Aseul. Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. I'll check it out. It sounds good. I think there's something to be said too about listening to music you don't understand all the lyrics into. Is like you're saying, you can kind of just like check out and zone out and enjoy the music for what it is, and yeah, it's like a nice escape, like you were describing. So yeah, I kind of feel like I feel like we could start wrapping up because we have been going for almost 3 hours.
It's been almost 3 hours.
Yeah. It really doesn't feel like it. It's been so much fun talking to you.
All right. This was really fun. See, this is the number one reason why I wanted to go live with you, because I was like, we're going to have fun, and we both have done YouTube. So why not just do a live together? Yeah,
I would love to do another one with you if you, like, had some, like, a topic because I didn't really know, like, what to go for with you. Like, we've been mutuals for a long time. And I like the main thing I knew about you and Japan or J-pop was just perfume, and I really like perfume, but like I wouldn't be able to like keep up with you on that topic.
That's true.
So, but I had so much fun just like talking about fast food and shit with you.
Like, you know what? Like, I think like if we do another live, we'll do our best. I'll do my best to like be more Japan focused.
No, not even. Like, that's not even what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's just like pandemic vibes where I'm like, I've been so isolated. I'm like, it's so fun to just talk to you about like anything.
Yeah, no, like I want to do more homework because you did such a good job with your notes and everything in it, and I just rambled. So
no, but I need that like with someone I'm doing a live with because I'm not very verbose. So like if I'm not reading off my notes, I kind of just let like the dead air go. So
you're like, okay, I'm here. You see me. I'm live.
Yeah. But yeah, so kind of just to wrap up the thought that I got into this with, for anyone who stuck around, is that basically 2005 there was like really amazing music videos coming out of Japan. They were really high budget, and then during the like economic collapse, those pretty much went away, and they haven't come back. And the record sales haven't come back because of the same reason, I think, as well as like downloading and stuff. Japan still has a really big music market. The US still has the biggest music market in the world, surprisingly.
I haven't bought an American album in almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I think the closest Western album I've bought was like Grimes' Our Angels album.
When did that come out?
2015.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be like 12 years ago or something like that.
You know, by November it'll be pushing on 6. So you know. But yeah, like that's the closest thing I've bought. I don't think I've bought an American musician's album in I think well over 10 years.
Yeah. I think the only American musician I buy usually is Tori Amos, and that's because I just stan her. Like I've stanned her since I was like 14 years old. So
you love Tori Amos.
Yeah. But we were talking a lot about female artists and soloists and how they really, really dominate the music scene in Japan. But there's also groups, and I never really talk about them on my channel because I just like have a really hard time getting into groups, and I'm not really into any Japanese groups. I like a few Korean ones. But I thought it was notable that throughout the years, Arashi, American R, yeah. They are like consistently the best-selling album of like almost every year, and it's annoying. They're like old now, so like I wish they would go away. But like 2020, they had the best-selling album. And then like back in maybe they didn't have a best-selling album in here, but I just mean like they did in 2009, and they had the best-selling single of 2008. So it seems like the male artists have like really extreme. The male artists and groups have really extreme longevity in Japan, where even like SMAP, those guys are in their 50s or 60s now. They still chart. Who else? There's like a few groups and bands that consist of all men that like have been charting for 4 decades in Japan, and it's kind of amazing. But I still don't like them. I don't like their music. It's all just like generic rock music.
And that's why it's hard for me to get into a lot of popular Japanese music.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of their music is influenced by the Beatles, and I don't like the Beatles. So, like, I'm kind of more of a My Bloody Valentine type person, and even then, I like probably 3 My Bloody Valentine songs and Nirvana. So it's kind of like Nirvana, My Bloody Valentine, Beatles, cut it. Here they go. So we like this one group that sound like the Beatles, but they're not the Beatles. They're Japanese. No, cut them too. Get that on my face.
Kane in the chat says bees. Yeah, bees. I was surprised they weren't they weren't in like the top 50 of 2020, but they've been active for a long time as well, and they're big in like 2005 2010. Have you ever listened to Lark on Ciel?
Yes.
And what do you think of them?
You know what? I think with them, I think that they're fine. I don't know the negative or like a positive thing. I'm like, you know what? They did what they did. And they did it well.
I really like them. I just brought them up because it's like the one anomaly of like a male band that I actually think is decent.
It's so funny that you say that because like that's literally the male group that I'll hear that people talk about. Mm-hmm. And then I checked out their stuff. I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. This is all right. I can vibe with this. I can chill with this.
Yeah, I find the singer's voice is so emotive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that I think Lark, Unciel, and Sock and Action are kind of like the only two groups that are fronted by a male singer from Japan that I actually have listened to and have been like, yeah, this is good. Because just like what you said, they emote, like he emotes when he sings. That's what I hear when I hear Ichiro Yamaguchi singing on Sock and Action. I'm like, oh my god, it sounds like you're crying. Like, oh, the pain. But I want more. Give me more. You know, just, that's all I like my music with a little bit of pain in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's so funny because I remember that with Lark on Ciel is that there's that emotion and I can feel it, and you know I can understand what he's delivering. Instead, like I said, a lot of musicians I listen to from Japan emote so that I know what they're saying, and then there are a lot of male ones that don't.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with the idol groups where it's like the choir singing or chorus singing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the term is, but it's like the whole group of them like shouting all the lyrics of the song. Like, I don't get it.
I'm overstimulated.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. That's why I tried to get into AKB48. I tried.
Yeah.
Multiple times. And I was like, there's too many girls here.
Yeah, I have a big beef with those idol groups. Like, I don't know if I even want to get into it, but like, they're very unfeminist, very misogynistic.
I still can't stop thinking about the chainsaw incident.
Yeah.
Like, how? Wow. And no, like, this is an isolated incident. I'm like, built up on two big systems. Your sexism and this idol system. What's on the talk? There's
been other incidents. There were like a couple girls got slashed with a knife at a meet and greet. A guy with like semen on his hand touched them at another one. Yeah. And this comes out of their marketing strategy. So like if you look at the top selling singles of the past few years, or the past decade actually, like they're all AKB and they're like offshoot groups. And that's because they do like the meet and greet pass giveaway inside the single CDs. So they're like obsessed fans go out and buy like tons and tons of copies in order to get those tickets to meet them.
And then they do that.
Yeah. But it's another reason why I don't like them, because it's like throwing off the charts. It's cheating, basically. So
that is definitely cheating, because you're not actually like, you're not enjoying it. You're just buying it in hopes for something.
It's not authentic sales. That people aren't buying the music for the music. They're buying it to try and like touch these underage girls with their dirty little hands.
That's so disgusting. And like, why isn't there security? Like every single time an incident happens, it's like, okay, y'all, boys, check that. We have to check the hands. Check the hands. On the texter. Like we do that over here, but we don't trust nobody.
Yeah. Well, everyone has a gun, so you shouldn't trust them.
Everyone has a goddamn gun. Like, okay, like, yeah, metal detect. What's on your hands? Nothing. These piercings, are they weapons? No. All right, gangster anyway. Okay, you're good.
Did you ever see the movie Tokyo Drift?
Oh yeah.
So in the beginning of the movie, the main character, who's like 38, playing a high school student, he walks in through the metal detectors. And me and my friend watching it in high school were so confused. We were like, is he going into a courthouse? Or like, is he going into jail? We were like, what the hell is this?
Oh my God. Like, I'll never forget, like, the first time I saw metal detectors at a school, it was for the public high school on the west side of my town. And that was really funny to me because the west side of my team is the better side of my hometown than the side that I'm from, the east side. It's because we have Black people on this side of town. I mean, it's very race motivated. But anyway, that all started like years ago when Black people first came to this town, whatever. And I saw it was West High School, and they had metal detectors at every single entrance.
Wow.
I didn't see that at my private high school. I didn't see that at the alternative high school. And that's where like people who, flunk grades or, get pregnant and then go over there. And then I didn't see it at East High. Like maybe it was there, but I didn't see it at all. Here they go. So we got metal detectors here. And then there was a cop too. It was like a police officer. Now, at that time, the police officers were white. I went to a middle school on the west side of town, and the police officer at the school was Black. And I didn't really feel like he was going to mess with me or anything because I was just so used to Waterloo police, like my hometown police, just, leaving us alone. So unless it was like time to ticket people so then they can, hit their quota at the end of the month. So it was kind of like you have to figure out when they were leaving alone and stuff. And I just went off of that mentality. But I was at school. So who the hell going to, give me a ticket for going to class?
Yeah.
But they had cops in the school. They had metal detectors. And it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. I felt like I was walking into a fortress.
And what do the teenagers feel going through that? You have to spend the day knowing I don't know. It's just weird.
It's like they didn't like it, but they understood it. I think that was something that was kind of like the consensus with my generation is that we didn't like it, but we understood it, and we still don't like it, but it's kind of like at this point because they won't get rid of guns or at least limit who can have guns. We're like, well, maybe we should put metal detectors at all the schools. And all suburban people are like, not my school. Yeah. Like, that's where they shoot y'all up. Do you not understand? Like, most of the mass shootings at schools are where it's 99% white. Like, let's do the math. They don't want to do the math. So if they don't want to do math, hey, enjoy dance. But I do remember that. Like, I remember that my group of friends and I, they didn't like the metal detectors, but then they were like, well, at least we won't be like Columbine. And that would be like the consensus. So then it would kind of, make the feeling of the metal detectors feel less invasive. Because then you kind of rationalize it. You're like, oh, well, at least I know I'm not going to get shot up. At least I know no one's going to stab me because the metal detector is going to go off, and then they're going to have to take the knife or the gun away from them and then take them to jail. So that's kind of like how we rationalized it, or at least my friends who went there, because I didn't go there. I went to a private Catholic school, and they just locked the doors. That was enough. So...
so BW saying feels like all the schools should have metal detectors.
Oh, in America? Yeah.
But wouldn't it be better to just take away some of the guns?
That's what we've been saying. But they won't do it. They won't do it. Like literally in my home state, the governor just passed that anyone can carry a gun without a permit.
God.
And I'm like, what, why are you doing this? And then it was like, oh, because you get paid a lot of money to do that from the NRA. So then you do that, you say it's a constitutional right, which it is technically called a constitutional right thing. And a lot of people who carry guns or co-sign people having guns very much believe in the Constitution, but they also don't know that we can change the Constitution whenever we want to.
It's like that one amendment is the only one that people seem to care about and stand up for. That's what I was thinking. Oh, what's the other one?
Freedom of speech and the right to bear arms.
Yeah. Okay. Freedom of speech. Yeah. I actually didn't know freedom of speech was part of it.
Yeah. That's
like,
why whenever you see anything from America, they say the N-word and B-word a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was what I was kind of like, one of the things I was confused about during like the Black Lives Matter arrests that happened last summer and stuff, where like certain people would be like, well, don't be out there protesting if you don't want to get arrested. Like, don't disobey the cops if you don't want to get arrested. It's like, well, that's one of the that's part of the Constitution as well, as you have a right to peaceful protest, and no one was out there. I mean, the protesters were out there, but I mean, like, nobody was using that part of the Constitution to defend them.
Yeah, because we're kind of conditioned to know that the Constitution does not cover everyone. So, like, for example, I remember on Tumblr, we would always talk crap about white people. And at the time, I kind of needed that because I went to college, because I experienced a lot of racism in college. And I was like in middle of nowhere, white town, Iowa, and Black Lives Matter stuff was happening, and Trayvon Martin and stuff happened. It was like, too much. So I was like, I like white people, F all of them. And then Tumblr was kind of like the okay, y'all understand where I'm coming from. Here's the resources to help me understand more about what I'm thinking. I can expand on it. Thank you. And they would talk a lot of crap about white people. But the thing is, when we had to leave, or like people would leave just to leave, I remember them would go over to Vine and say negative things about white people, and then within 2 to 3 days, it was gone. It was taken down. I remember people would tweet about talking negatively about white people, and they would spell out the word white, and they get taken down. So then, after a while, they went from white to like the abbreviated version for YouTube, YT. Dang, YTPL, you know, and then it was fine for 2 years. And then people got wise with it, more so data analysts on these social media accounts, and they would take it down. And then now current day with TikTok, I remember before the United States acquired the data acquisition of TikTok in the US, Canada, New Zealand, Britain, and Australia. They acquired it in 5 countries, not just ours. We were able to talk a lot of crap about white people, and it wasn't really much of a problem. Like, it was still there. We'd see it the next day. I'd probably like save it, maybe there. All those people and those videos that I saved were gone by like late November, mid-December. And that was when the data acquisition was acquired, like by the beginning of November, like right when we had the elections. And like, I know people who keep getting suspended or who are shadow banned because they talked crap about white people or called them snow possums or something like that. So then, because I was wondering the same thing too. Like, I think back in 2012 or 13, when I saw protests for Trayvon Martin, that incident that happened in Florida, I was wondering, why are they like arresting people and all that stuff? That's freedom of speech. They should be able to say and do what they want. Like, protesting is a part of freedom of speech. And then the internet, you know, social media sites, more specifically Twitter, Facebook, Vine, TikTok, YouTube, they taught me that freedom of speech does not apply when you go against the American norm. So it's literally the same as China. It's just we're not admitting that we're the same as China. Yeah,
it's covert.
It's very covert. Like, it's very passive aggressive. It's very, oh no, we're not like that. We're freedom of speech. We're here for the people. We accept everybody. But then once you come here, you notice who they want. You notice what they accept. You notice what they consume. I think the fact that I've gotten in trouble so many times telling American people, like, you consume someone who doesn't care if you live or die. That's not healthy. Then, okay, but like, and I'm like, no. You're erratic. You need a therapist, and you're consuming people who make you feel like you're less than a human. I can't vibe with that. That's why it was kind of hard for me to go through LA and like all the people that were there, because they consume a lot of musicians and artists and actors and stuff that don't care about their ethnicity, their community people, all that stuff. And it's like, that's not healthy. So I think a lot of the time people they really just kind of like, it really seems like they are already conditioned to know that the freedom of speech is not free for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so like a thing for white people here, which sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
And another reason why I go over to J-pop. That's my safe haven. That is really my safe haven.
Yeah.
I will admit, if I start seeing American people like try and be big in Japan and they look like freaking Scarlett Johansson, I'm throwing my phone. Like, you stupid ass Japanese people, all of y'all. but yeah, like it's really nice. I know that wait, because you've been to Japan before, right?
Yeah.
Have you been to Yokohama yet?
To Yokohama?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just like the train station.
I kind of want to go there just to see, like, if I'd be more accepted in that area, because I've heard that, like, the Kansai region is, like, the ghetto of Japan. And I'm like, oh, okay, then I'm going to go. And plus Crystal K's from there, so I don't care.
Okay, yeah. That's where one of the American bases is.
Oh, God, no. Okay, now I'm just going to Hiroshima.
Well, that's like how Crystal K is from there, because her dad was in the American military, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. If I see any of them, I'm going to be like, oh, Lord, goodbye.
That's the thing is, like, I kind of talked about this a little bit, but, like, Japan's fascination with, like, half Japanese people, and, like, there was a long period of time where if you were half Japanese, you would become a celebrity. It just, like, happened. You know, you didn't have to have a talent or anything.
Oh, wow.
But now they become so saturated with foreigners and half Japanese people that it's not like that anymore. And, like, one of the groups that was coming up in my research is Monkey Magic. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh my God, yeah. Their name is so off-putting. I was like, I'm not clicking play.
But okay, so I knew of them, and when I was just like listening to the videos we were talking about, where it was like the 5-second clip of songs, like even on the recording, like the records, the dude is off key. It's like you just got a record deal because you're a white guy singing in Japanese. And my friend actually saw them live, and she said they were horrible.
I believe it. I believe it.
I think they're basically retired now, but like it seems like Japan is like moving away from that like foreigner fascination shit with like the new generation and stuff.
Yeah, and kind of thank God for it, because most of the time when I saw that, it was mostly applied to people who kind of look like they were Eurasian. Like, hey, exactly, I'm half white and Asian. I'm like, oh God, y'all need to stop playing Final Fantasy. Like, get out of here.
So I'm curious, like, since you're a big fan of, I know I tried to wrap up the stream like half an hour ago, but I'm curious if, like, as your view on Crystal K, since you're a big fan of her, like, do you think that she hasn't blown up in Japan because of her ethnicity, or like the marketing wasn't behind her because of her ethnicity? Because she's obviously way more talented than like everyone else who's out there in the music world.
I think she wasn't, I think she didn't hit because she's a Pisces. Let me expand on that. Because we have Rihanna, but a lot of times, and
I can't tell when you deadpan like that if you're like being super sarcastic or actually serious.
I'm sorry, it's one of my tricks. It's one of my tricks.
Yeah.
I will admit, I got it from my mom. But what I noticed with Crystal K and what I noticed with Rihanna is that a lot of times, and this is also true for myself, a lot of times Pisces people need a team of people that are trying to rise them up to the top, so then they can realize, oh, like, y'all really like me for who I am and everything, so let me go up to the top. If that doesn't happen, a lot of times we'll just like kind of try and take care of everyone else, which kind of keeps us at this steady level of like fame, popularity, success, and all that stuff. That's why I have to like give myself a big head, because unless a whole group of people are gonna rise me up to the top of like the screenwriting world of the United States, I ain't getting up there. But like that's what I noticed with Crystal K. I feel like her management team was a regular management team, and I can see that with the music videos and stuff. But I can also see how she could have taken that and be like, oh wait, let me take care of everyone else, and then I'll do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Because she is a very caring girl. She wants to put a lot of positivity and, you know, good vibes and stuff out there. Same thing with Rihanna. It's kind of like, let me take care of everyone else and then I'll take care of myself. But she kind of got past that mindset. Like Rihanna takes care of herself, very much a lot of self-care. She does think that she is the shit, you know, and she had a whole team of people that, you know, encouraged her to do that, especially her assistant. Her assistant played a big role in her career trajectory.
Okay.
That and her getting beaten up by Chris Brown. But that's another story. I feel like that's the same thing with Crystal K. Crystal K needed like that big group of people to just rise her up to the top, and she didn't get that. So, and I do see it off of just like the lack of money for new music videos. The fact that they tried to kind of put her in like this weird, like I like her music and it does sound very 2000s, but the fact that her first album is so different than like the rest of her music is really weird. You know, it's very, very strange. And I don't know if that's because of Crystal K or because of her label. But if she releases another album and it sounds exactly the same as the past previous albums since her first album, then that's probably a Crystal K issue. I feel like there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of like different angles that we could see off of like Crystal K not being successful. But I just really think it's because she's a Pisces.
I'm surprised, but that actually does seem to track. Like when I was looking at how many singles each artist was putting out per year for this video, like Ayumi Hamasaki is like consistently putting out a lot every year, and Kodakumi's like right under her. And when you look at like their popularity, it starts to line up with that. And like now Ayumi Hamasaki is like one of the most rich people in Japan. Like not even just musician, but like I think all of Japan. Like, and then I saw some discourse a while ago on Twitter about Crystal K, like where her fans are kind of speculating that she really is just fine, like you're saying, with where she is. Like she could have got on the grind like Ayumi Hamasaki and really like pushed herself out there, but she was like, I have my record deal, I'm fine with putting out like 1 or 2 singles, and the end.
Yeah, I really feel like her level of music and why it kind of all sounds the same is because of that. Because that first album was so good. And she even said that was her favorite album. I'm like, if that's your favorite album, then why aren't you doing that album again? But it's kind of like, that's probably a Crystal K thing more than anyone else. I mean, anything else. That's a Pisces thing more than anything else. You know, she's good with what she has. She paid off her debts and her family's debts and all that stuff. And, you know, she's just happy with what she got.
Yeah, I really wish she would make another stab at the American music market, because I feel like she could be more successful over here than in Asia.
Honestly, same. Honestly, same. Like, if she was, like, you know, doing her little traction thing and performing in New Jersey and all that stuff, I think that she would hit well. I do think that she should probably do it in Canada instead of here, because I don't want her to get shot.
What the fuck?
I don't like. I want her to be able to go to public places and be able to perform. And we ain't going to the malls. Okay, we ain't going to the malls. We ain't going to the state fairs. You know, like people who listen to Crystal K's music are not going outside. Okay, they're not going outside to see her. And like people who would be interested in her are not going outside. They want to be entertained indoors. And you know, I don't know how she's gonna do that. So I think if she did a traditional marketing plan of like performing in public areas, you know, putting herself out there, really getting to know the people, the community, connecting with the people, using her Pisces power, and really, doing what she got to do. Oh, she'd be wonderful. She'd be on the TIC tip. But I don't know. She was on Hairspray. Proud of her.
Yeah, like her talent is just so incredible that, like, looking at the other vocal greats like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, I feel like Crystal K is right up there with them, but she just, like, I don't know why she doesn't, like, reach up and take it.
Yeah, because what was it? We were listening to, I think, Amy Suzuki's album Supreme Show one night in like this Discord, and I was like, "Oh, I love Utada Carlo," and everyone was like, "She can't sing," and I was like, "We're not gonna do that." And I was a little perturbed, and I was like, "So who that thing can sing?" And then he just kept talking about Western artists. So I was like, I see where we are here. This is why I don't talk to y'all or hang out with y'all. Like, the depth of knowledge, not there. I wanna talk to someone who is smarter with me in K-pop. And then I started to look up, like, why did they say Utada Carlo can't sing? So I looked up her vocal range, Nami Amoro's, like all of the J-pop big hits. And then I got to Crystal K's. And Crystal K's is range. Like, that is real range. She's like a really good vocalist. Like, that's the only Japanese musician that I know that I can call a vocalist. I love Utada. I love Nami Amoro, but Crystal K blew that crap out the water. Like, man, it's just, she's so good. And I really, really wish that, like you said, I really wish that she just had, more exposure, more sales, more appreciation, more respect that's put on her name, because she's a really, really good singer. She's amazing. But
I just hate to see talent. It's not even going to waste because she's still a recording artist, but I'm just like, oh, you could be so much bigger. And, like, I just want the whole world to like put her on a world stage, just like Whitney Houston, like, because I know she can do it.
Yep. That's how a lot of people who consume Azealia Banks felt.
Yeah.
Let me stop being mean to her. But that's true. I would always remember that was the first time when I would start hearing about, how people would say that. They'd be like, man, if she just did this and this, she'd be wonderful. And she'd be great. And they'd come up with, like, wild and crazy marketing plans and things that could work, couldn't work, all that stuff. And I mean, I get it. Makes sense. I did that same crap with Perfume. But, like, I totally agree that with Crystal K, for sure with Crystal K. Because she's amazing. She's a wonderful musician, and she's a great person. She has a great heart, and she would do the work. I think, like, with her work ethic and her vocal talent really makes me go, I want you to be successful.
Yeah. Her TikToks are really funny.
Oh, yeah. They're funny, and then I'm like, oh, wow, we're talking a lot about relationships. How you doing?
Yeah.
You good? You good, man? But yeah, I like her TikToks too. Like, I like her TikToks. I actually got into TikTok because of Perfume.
Oh, do they have a TikTok?
Yeah, they had a TikTok back in 2019, and the phone I had couldn't register TikTok. So I got a new phone so that I could follow on TikTok. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I need to see my girls on TikTok. So, and that was really, really cool. And it actually exposed me to an app that took America by storm.
So did they delete it?
No, they're still there.
They still have it? Okay, I just need to follow them.
Yeah, like, it's like, I think it's PRFM official.
Okay.
I still think that their TikToks are the most entertaining for me because it's Perfume. The hell? Like, thanks, kids, for, dancing to Nelly Furtado again. But Perfume is right there. So, it was, they had the most views for a while on TikTok before America came in. And
People took over with their lip syncing cringe videos.
Yes, like everyone kept talking about like these random white kids. I was like, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because they would never show up my For You page. Oh my god, dang it, this is Vine all over again. When they talk about these random white kids, I'm like, who are y'all talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And they never showed on my page. I never looked them up. The only time I heard of them was when someone said, "Oh, that one's homophobic," and I'm like, aren't they 12? Like, aren't they 12? Just stop consuming them and move on. So, but no, yeah, like that's what happened on TikTok too. When there was like these little drama thingies, and then suddenly there was like the big talk. And, oh my god! Especially in LA, they like have these talks about these TikTok stars, and I'm like, oh my god, is this who we are? Is this what we represent? So I just had to let go, and I went to my room and I listened to Mondo Grosso. So I just had to tune it out.
I love this philosophy of like anytime you just are in a situation you don't like I need to go back to J-pop.
I need to go back to J-pop.
Yeah.
That's what I do all the time. Oh, I want to share. Okay. I'll share the story and then we probably have to stop. I know you were trying to wrap it up.
Okay, go for it.
So there is actually this one time I worked in social services, so I worked with like a lot of foster kids, and one year I worked with them, and I had to drive the car, and they would just play the radio, and they would play loud rap music all the time, and I couldn't focus, and I almost killed them. So I'm never letting anyone control the music while I'm driving again. So I'm like, I'm gonna get us in an accident. And then one time, there's this one artist that I listen to called Meg, and she's like a part of like the Yasutaka Nakata umbrella, and she has this one song, Secret Adventure. And when I tell you, I played that song while the boys were in the car. Boys from ages like maybe like 8 to 13. And I played Secret Adventure. And then I was kind of like in a I don't give a F mood because the job that I had really just emotionally toxic. And I played that song full blast, and I sang it was my lyrics because I could not understand what Meg was saying because she couldn't even understand what she was saying. So I just made it on my own. And when I tell you, all the messed up boys got into it because they thought they were real lyrics. When I tell you, and then because I got them into that, they're like, is there more? Is there more? I can't play them Japanese pop music, and they were getting into it. They're like, what are they saying here? And I was like, oh, okay, so then I had to think of my brain, like, what did this child go through? Oh, they're talking about killing the person that molested them. I love this movie. Like, literally, that's how it was, and it worked. It worked really well, and then after a while of doing that, it was like after about 3-6 months, because I was driving them all the time. I drove them to school, picked them up, all everything. They started liking East Asian pop music, and then they were able to consume Korean pop music. It wasn't seen as like an effeminate or girly thing. And I was like, should I tell them the truth about the lyrics of those songs? I was like, nah. But no, like it was really, it kind of like came in full circle, because it's like if I went through something harsh, I would listen to the Japanese pop song and kind of like make my own lyrics to it, so then it would just kind of heal me up. All of a sudden I went through horribly, and then I kind of gave the same thing to these kids in foster care who have went through a lot of stuff, and it worked too. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm teaching them how to cope. I'm literally teaching them how to cope in this world. I love it. And it was really, really nice. And I personally am not a BTS fan, but it was kind of nice for them to see them kind of like listen to them and just kind of like check out. I was like, oh my God, I'm teaching them coping skills. You know?
Yeah.
It made me very proud. It made me very, very happy, because a lot of times there'll be these people with these master's degrees or like PhDs, and like, you should have a coping skill. You should count to 10. You should breathe. You should this. That never worked for me as a child. All I needed was some music to tune everybody out, and that's what worked for them. It still works. It's still a good thing to use and do, and I pretty much told all of them to listen to really loud music. I knew this one kid was obsessed with Capsule, and that's really, really loud music. I would drive around Pasadena blaring Capsule. Everybody thought I was like a bat out of hell. They thought it was insane. Like it just like and this one kid is in the passenger seat is going. It was so much fun, and it was good because he would like say, "Oh, how do you know this musician? Like, what's the name for this?" Because they don't really get money. The foster care systems, like in America, they don't get money if the kids go to school, so they don't really care about their education. This kid was like 13 and he didn't know how to spell capsule, perfume, all that stuff. So I had to write it down for him, and I was like, "Keep this close and learn how to spell it because you're going to need this music for the rest of your life." He was like, okay. And then one time he like came back to the job that I was at. And it was like a month before I quit. And he was like, "Oh my God, I still listen to the artists. They're so good." And he was talking up a storm. And he's also on the spectrum too. So it was like, it was even better because I guess like nobody told him that he was autistic, and then he found out he was autistic, and he was like, "Oh my God, I have a disease." And he was like, I listened to them, and then I realized I don't really have a disease. I have a superpower. I was like,
yeah.
You listen to Capsule and Perfume and took their music and realized that autism is a superpower? This is power. This music is power. And like everything's good. I was like, this music is powerful. Music can be very powerful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that story about like how big and influential Japanese pop music can be, even if you're not in Japan, because it really is powerful for a lot of us down here. Because you just meet people down here, they really love the music. They are attached to it. Like
I think you need to take some credit for that too, because you were like an influential adult in those kids' lives, and you showed them, you opened a whole other world for them, and they're probably at an age where there's a lot of pressure to like just like what your friends like or find out what's cool, and you were showing them like how to make up their own minds about something. I think that's really valuable.
Oh yeah, because that's the most fun. I don't know why people. Well, I understand why they hate the job, but with the kids, oh crap, that was fun. I never have a problem being with kids. If they want to be a dick, I always ask them questions, and if they're just chilling, being quiet by themselves, I'm like, "Oh, I need you to show yourselves." No, nobody likes who I am. Okay, well, I want to know who you are. Let me be the deciding factor. And then they show themselves, and I'm like, I'm unfazed. This is not weird to me. And then after that, they wild out. They be all happy. And like one kid like came up to me and was like, "You won't like me as soon as you know who I am." I'm like, "So who are you?" Yeah. And they whispered into my ears, "I'm a furry," and I busted out laughing. I was like, "Oh, you're a furry!" Like, I had a Tumblr account. Furries are just normal. I don't care. Like, oh. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, I had to ask him, like, "Do you want to have sex with a farm animal?" No. Well, then you're okay in my book. Oh my goodness. But no, y'all, like, it was so much fun. And like, I know that with sharing the East Asian pop music, like whenever I did it with teens, and I was like, I can't understand that stuff, and they'd be offensive. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I'm driving the car.
Yeah.
And then after a week, they'd start singing the song. I'm like, see, if you just shut up and listen to the song, you enjoy the song. So for anybody that's still paying attention to the stream, just know it doesn't matter if they like it or not. They're going to like it. They already love it. Westerners think that they're not going to like anything unless it's spoken in their own language. That's false. Everybody likes any type of music.
Well, there's certain people like racist who are like, this is not English. I am not listening to this, but I kind of like converting someone to liking J-pop and K-pop from being like a normie is the best feeling. And I kind of had a related moment. Last week I'm in like a writers group on Facebook, which I know is not cool, but someone asked for like the saddest songs, because they wanted to make a playlist to write to. And I was like, I got you. I have, I'm here for you. And so one of the songs I posted was Manatsu no Toriyame by Utada. And
that's so sad.
I posted the lyric translation below it, and I got like a few just random people liking it, and like someone wrote back to me, was like, oh my God, the lyrics are so beautiful. Like, thank you so much for sharing this. I was like, just doing the Lord's work again.
See, and that's all you need. That's all. Yeah. You know, it really doesn't take a lot. I think that's like the one thing I can take out of the positive, you know, influence of Korean pop music is that it's so much easier to, you know, share our taste of Japanese pop music to other people. Because even though they may come off ignorant and say, is this K-pop? It's like, okay, wait, it's J-pop. Okay, it's not, oh, I'm not going to listen to that insert slur here. But, you know, it's so much better. Like, people are having more open, like an open-mindedness to it because they're seeing that that's the trend and they don't want to be uncool to not know the trend. And it's nice. I'll never forget when I came home, I think it was like in 2019 for my mom's birthday. And my brother was like, oh my God, Carl, you were like ahead of the game. You've been listening to Asian music the whole time. I was like, huh? And like, all the kids are listening to K-pop and you've been listening to K-pop all your life. I was like, no.
Excuse me.
No. You just got me mixed up with somebody else. But no, like it was great because, you know, I was able to kind of educate him on it and then let him know what was up and also let him know, like, you know, how all of this stuff was connected and how it connects to our music as well. Like with Beyonce and the stage performances, that was like a direct book from the Perfume stage performances. Because it was a Perfume stage performance thing. France took it, and then Beyonce's creative team saw it, and then they took it from France. So it never really connected to Perfume. But if you look up the inspiration of the French people that Beyonce took it from, they literally reference Daito Manabe, Rhizomatics, and Perfume. It's like, oh, well, A plus B equals C. So I told him that, and then he felt so much better because he loves Beyonce. He's a huge fan of Beyonce. And it was like, it was all full circle, and it feels really good. And I think, like, those are the things that kind of keep people going, because I do notice, because I grew up with a lot of people that were, like, weebs, they are, you know, having a problem, you know, going through the day by day. And I'm like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Like, here's some positive things. This happened. You can talk about this, all that stuff. And it gets it better for them to keep going, especially in this country. Because I know people that are like, I'm going to move to Germany. I'm like, so you're going backwards. You're going backwards. You're going to go back to Europe. But like the Danish where we got to, okay, whatever. But, you know, like it kind of makes them feel a little bit better and be able to keep pushing forward and keep moving through, just all because of J-pop music and how influential it can be to like the little kids that they talk to now. And, you know, I don't know, it's really, really nice. It's really cool to see that.
Yeah. Well, on that positive note.
I know, because it's been like 3 hours and 30 minutes. We have got to stop.
My brain is melting.
I wanted to ask you about the writers group, like which writers group you were on, but I'm like, it's been 3 hours, Carl. Shut up.
Well, it's called like Canada Writes, so I don't think you're allowed in it.
Oh, it's fine. I don't have to be part of it. I just wanted to know, like, oh, this is like a novel thing, a script thing.
Yeah, I'm writing a novel, and I was gonna ask you about this after we like ended the broadcast actually, but it's fine. I know you're into writing too from your Twitter. And I've been wanting to start like a creativity channel for like a year now, but I've had too much imposter syndrome to do it. But I was going to ask you, like, when I actually do launch it, if you would like to come onto that channel as well and talk about writing and like just shit you think about that has to do with writing. And like, I remember a tweet you made that I I really agreed with where you started talking about writers should learn about psychology, and that's like a big thing in my writing too. And I kind of like jumped on that. I was like, absolutely yes. Like writers need to be like just as interested in psychology as they are in writing, in my opinion. But yeah.
Oh my God, I'm excited. Like, look, because it's about writing, you're always gonna have that imposter syndrome. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
Because I still have it, and I've written things that people think are great. I'm like, okay, but like this sucks. No, this is wonderful. I got this. I understand my character. It's crazy, but I think when you feel it, just do it. Like maybe like practice with a couple videos first, because it's gonna be a creative one, and you just gotta like do the rough draft, and then the final draft, and then the second final draft.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, this is the one I'll post. And like I think that'll probably like push it more into being a real thing, because that would be really cool to see. I don't even know where you could start with it, because creative, that's such a big term for everything. But I feel like you could do it.
I'm coming at like writing a novel from the animation world. Like that's what I went to school for. So I also do a webcomic that I wrote and draw. So like I wanted to combine the two things in the channel, and that's like one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitating on it too, because it's like two different subjects, the drawing and the writing. But I think I just need to go for it, because I know of another channel that does like webcomic related stuff, but I'm definitely very interested in hear about your writing and stuff, because I watch Stans and it's very polished and professional, and I enjoy reading your tweets about script writing. So
I'm so glad you like Stans, because you know what? Now I hate season 2.
That's too bad.
I'm telling you, that imposter syndrome is never gonna go away. You're gonna be like, oh, this is it. This is the shit. I wrote the best thing. And then a year later, I'm like, oh my God, look at that editing. Oh my God, why did I write that in there? And then, I did laugh. I laughed at a lot of things that was written in there. But then I'll think to myself, am I just laughing because I wrote it? Or is it actually funny? You know?
But, like, we have to tell ourselves, like, if I like this, then chances are a lot of other people are gonna like it too. They just have to find it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest reason why, like, I've been so hesitant. Well, I've been in Iowa recently, like for the past few months, and COVID happened. But I was gonna do season 3 of Stans, and it's been so long now that my imposter syndrome is starting to eat away at that idea. And I was like, no, don't do that. Just get better. It's okay. Like, you'll be okay. So now I'm reading this book. Where'd it go? Whatever. I'm reading the same playbook, like about writing screenplay stuff, and trying to really hone my skills on that. And whenever I feel overwhelmed and stuff, I'll write instead, because I'm like doing a lot of things now. Like, I'm gonna be fostering a kid. I'm gonna be moving. I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be moving on to get a new job. I'm gonna be networking a lot more this year and next, which means I'm gonna have to go out to West LA. I'm terrified of West LA because there's so many people who stare at me. I get scared when I'm in places where people stare at me. I'll like act it out and like respond in a flight response, so then I'll kind of like act more goofy and clown off a bit more. But deep down, I'm really scared because I don't know what they're gonna do with me. So, and that's what happened in West LA. But I have to go over there to meet other screenwriters and like put myself out there to network and gigs. I was like, oh. So it's a lot of change that's gonna be happening within the next year, and I'm just like, I have to like put more of a focus on my creative like side. So whenever if my brain is kind of focused on one thing and it's kind of like giving me this low hum of energy, I'll read. And then if I'm really kind of all over the place, like say if I'm on this live and I'm looking at my phone and I'm listening to music, but you're talking, I'm overthinking. So I just have to stop everything and then write. And it's actually helped a lot. I've been doing that for the past month, and like my sleep schedule has been better. I feel less stressed out because like I feel like I don't know if you have that same feeling too as a writer, but it kind of feels like deep in your soul. If you're not writing for a long period of time, you just start to feel like ill or icky or something.
I'm just in a bad mood. If I actually get a chance to write, like, say before I go to work for the day or something, then my mood is automatically a bit better.
You know, yes, that's it. A bad mood. I think that's the same thing here too, because I would be in such a bad mood, and I remember growing up, I would have like such an attitude with my family. I was like, is it because something that happened? Is it because I'm hungry? Like I don't know what's going on, and it's only because I haven't written in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
So that's the thing I've noticed.
It's like constipation.
Yes. Oh my God. Like your ideas are constipated and they want to get out, but you're not doing the thing to get them out. So your brain's like, okay, then let's be bad. Let's think of creative ways to break things, and it's not healthy. But no, yeah, I'm really excited about the creative channel that you're gonna do, because I think that'd be really, really cool. And I'd also be able to, see the people that you've been working with and collaborating with and stuff like that, because I know that you like you said, you did go to school for animation and writing. So it's just really nice to see that area, that field and how that's going on, and then hear more about the writing side as well and how they all collide.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'll come through in the videos. And I was kind of thinking of doing it as a TikTok as well. And because I feel like YouTube is dying a little or a lot.
Yeah.
And TikTok is so humongous now that it's almost a better idea to, I don't know, since I'm already familiar with YouTube, I thought I would just try it on both platforms.
Yeah, I think the best thing that you could do, just so that you don't feel overwhelmed with it, because I tried to do TikTok too, and I'm like, ugh, ew. I don't know why. It just made me gross. I'm like, I don't want to do a TikTok. I'm tired. But I'd say try it out on YouTube first, and then if it feels like it's going well on YouTube, you can clip it and kind of downsize it, or maybe
true.
Resize it a bit and then put it on TikTok. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know that's what works, where people will kind of get closer to the center and then talk to each other and act like they're relaxed. But they're doing that because they're going to put it on TikTok. So then when they expand it, you just see those two people in the middle.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's, I would do that. And then that way people can join in, and then they could get a full video, and then they'll kind of go to your YouTube more, because even though TikTok's booming, I don't know how long TikTok's gonna last.
Yeah, true.
Because it's still owned by China, and America keeps telling us to hate China. So
yeah, and they were gonna ban it at one point, and then it just didn't go through.
Yeah, they were gonna ban it because they weren't getting any money off it. That was literally the reason. I'm like, y'all are so goddamn greedy. What is wrong with you people?
I thought the politicians were like, oh, China's spying on us through TikTok, so we must ban the app.
That was the angle that they were going off of, and a lot of people believed it. And I was like,
okay,
China already spying. Y'all are stupid.
Yeah.
But again, this is the country that I live in. I just tune them out. Hello. Boop, boop, boop. Hey, perfume.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. And it'd be a really cool video too. I think if you do it in a way where I don't even know how it'd be done. They'll clip to each person whenever they do those things. Yeah. And as long as you and the other person are in the center, you're good. You can make that into a TikTok.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Now we're not even talking about J-pop anymore. I'm just so excited about you doing this thing that I'm kind of going off topic here. But yes, I would love to see the fruition of this. I want to see it go on. Because I really think that just with everything you've done as a YouTuber, you are a consistent person. Even though, there's been some bumpy roads and stuff, it's fine. We literally went through a whole pandemic together. I think we'll all understand. you've just been consistent with it, and you've studied up on the knowledge of it. You've reached out to people. Like people know you and who you are for a reason. People know me and stuff probably because of one or two things. Who knows? Who cares? You have a consistent reason. And I think that would be really cool that you'd be able to expand on it and kind of like show them a little bit more about like, more of your, more of your personal interest than just hip hop. Because I think they're ready. I think they're ready for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Do you have any like final thoughts, like anything you want to shout out? We did mention stands a bit, but like your Twitter is linked below. Yeah,
so I guess for anybody that have watched or is watching this and have watched all like 4 hours of this, I have a web series called Stands. It's pretty much about a group of pop music fans who talk about, stan culture, stan Twitter, all that type of stuff, and go through their regular lives. And season 2 is out right now. Season 3 will be out when season 3 is out. I do not have a date yet.
Yeah.
We'll see if it'll come. But yeah, there will be more things coming soon. I would probably expect if any type of new videos come out from me that are more film related instead of just vlogging and YouTube related, it would probably be around November, December at the earliest.
Okay, we'll keep our eye out. And I'm going to check up on you and be like, where is your content?
I know, because I haven't had any content for the longest time. I think last time I released content was like fall 2019. So I need to kick things into gear.
Yeah. So. Well, thank you so very much for chatting with me. I had so much fun, and I have like so many moments in mind of like just these little sound bites of things you said that I'm gonna like download and clip out of this live stream, and I'm gonna like reuse them in future videos.
See, that's why I have to turn my mic down. I was like, one of these things are gonna be used in a sound bite. I know it will.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was fun. I had a good time. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, well, it was awesome. And I hope you will come back again. And thank you to everyone who's been watching. We actually jumped up to the most amount of viewers like at the 3rd hour, which like never happens. Yeah, so thank you guys.
Hey, thank you.
So yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the next video.
Yes. Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.